Hey, what's going on, sports fans? TJ Jones here. Welcome to another edition of the State of the NFL podcast where we talk about some of the hottest topics in all of the National Football League. And also, we do live streams for primetime games, and we have a good one for you that is underway right now. The Dallas Cowboys taking on the Green Bay Packers, the return of Micah Parsons to AT&T Stadium. As of right now, the score is 7-0. Green Bay has the ball with about 6:30 left in the first quarter. And here's a handoff, an end around to Matthew Golden. He gets around the sidelines and he gets enough for a first down, and he gets absolutely shellacked in the face, in the grill, but he still has enough for a first down. So the Green Bay Packers are trying to bounce back after an embarrassing loss last week versus the Cleveland Browns. After a lot of people considered them the best team in the NFC, especially from a defensive perspective. And, this is a team that has all the talent and all the tools to be a force in the NFC. Of course, they have a really good coach in Matt LaFleur, who has this team always looking good every single year. Play action. Jordan Love throws deep down the field, and that pass is bobbled, and they're saying it was incomplete, intended for Romeo Doubs. Threw it really low, but still should have been able to come down with the football. I think Jordan Love probably think he should have put it up just a little bit higher, but it was a low pass and it was incomplete. I mean, he was wide open. So the Dallas Cowboys dodged the bullet there on that first down. All right, so this is going to bring up 2nd and 10. You have the Green Bay Packers at the Dallas Cowboys, I want to say 40-yard line, their own 40-yard line. And so Jordan Love, you have to believe he loves playing the Dallas Cowboys because he has some of his best numbers statistically every time he plays them. All right, so Wicks in motion. They hand it off. This is to Jacobs. Jacobs fights, scratch, claws, get to midfield, and he gets about 5 yards on the play. So this is going to bring up a third down for the Green Bay Packers. But there's a flag on the play. Let's see what this flag is all about. All right, so we have holding. We got holding on the offense, so a really good solid run by Josh Jacobs is going to be taken off the board because Morgan was caught holding the offensive lineman. All right, so you have Nealon, who he was matched up with, and he tried to make a transition, but as we can see, Morgan is a victim. Nealon was a victim of the hold. So 2nd and 18 for the Green Bay Packers. Pulls them back just a little bit. Jordan Love in the gun. And it's snapped. And he's looking, got some time. He gets flushed to the right. And he's still looking down the field, but instead he just throws it away. So really good defense there by the Dallas Cowboys. So this is going to be 3rd and 18. So really good pressure on Jordan Love, flushing him out of the pocket, forcing him to throw the ball down the field for an incomplete pass. Once again, if you're just joining us, the Dallas Cowboys are down 7-0. You had a touchdown pass from Jordan Love to Romeo Doubs on the opening drive for the Packers. And now the defense, once again, is back out there after Dallas Cowboys couldn't get it done offensively. So here we go. Here's the check down here. This is off to Savion Williams, the rookie out of TCU. And he almost gets the first down, but now it's decision time. I mean, he got close enough for this to be. I mean, you can go for this on a 4th and 2. I mean, on a 3rd and 18, you get 16 yards. You go on a 3rd and 18, it sets up a 4th and 2. So Savion Williams, the big wide receiver, once again out of TCU, and he's mostly on special teams, but he's a guy that is capable. All right, so 4th and 2, you have to wonder if they're just going to try to hard count this thing or they're going to try to go for it. But let's see on this 4th and 2. All right. All right, so what they were trying to do is just trying to do a little hard count. So they're going to go ahead and punt that football. So really good defensive stance there, along with a holding penalty that negated a really solid drive by the Green Bay Packers. All right, so looking at these Dallas Cowboys, they're going to have to find a way to beat. They're going to have to find a way to try to beat these, these Green Bay Packers. It seems like they always have their number. So the Cowboys opening drive, they went 3 and out, and now they're going to get the ball back. So if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you got to find a way to get something. Kevontae Turpin here signals a fair catch, catches the ball at about the 11-yard line. So out comes Dak Prescott again after a 3 and out and trying to get his offense to go to work as they're down 7-0 to the Green Bay Packers. And thank you all for being here. Really do appreciate it. This is the State of the NFL's live Sunday Night Football watch along. We do this every single week for primetime games, Monday night, Thursday night, and Sunday night. So if you're into sports talk, if you're into live streams, watch alongs, we're here for you. And we try to provide some commentary in the process, as well as answer your questions about your favorite team or just NFL headlines. All right. We had some big time matchups on today. Let's see. Let's look at the scoreboard here. The Kansas City Chiefs beating the Baltimore Ravens pretty handedly here, 37-20. And that's pretty much of a shocker because Kansas City, who was off to a very rough start in Baltimore, has been one of those teams that been having issues closing, but still have been a really good team. So Baltimore is on a 2-game losing streak, very uncharted territory. All right, then you have the Chicago Bears on a 2-game winning streak. They just squeak out a victory against the Raiders, 25-24. You got the Seattle Seahawks, of course. That was a Thursday night game. Last 4 minutes of that game made it very interesting. They knock off the Arizona Cardinals 23-20. You had a game that was in Ireland early this morning. The Pittsburgh Steelers knocking off the Minnesota Vikings 24-21. The Giants get their first win of the season in a shocker, knocking off the Los Angeles Chargers. You got the Houston Texans finally getting in a win column. They knock off the Tennessee Titans 26-0. The Atlanta Falcons get the victory over the Washington Commanders 34-27. Jaden Daniels did not play in that game. Marcus Mariota was the starter. The Saints lose to the Buffalo Bills 31-19. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers fall to the Philadelphia Eagles 31-25. The Detroit Lions all over the Cleveland Browns 34-10. The New England Patriots smacking around the Carolina Panthers 42-13. And you got the 49ers suffering their first loss of the season versus the Jacksonville Jaguars 26-21. And this game was interesting. Thought that the Rams might end up suffering a loss, but instead they end up beating the Indianapolis Colts 27-20. And there's some Monday Night Football games that are going to be happening on tomorrow. The Jets taking on the Miami Dolphins in AFC East play, and the Bengals are taking on the AFC West team, the Denver Broncos. All right, so 1st and 10. And that's a pass off. That's to Jake Ferguson. And that is about 4 or 5 yards on the play. So a rollout by Dak Prescott getting outside the pocket there. All right, so this is going to be a very important game for the Dallas Cowboys, man. They got to get back on the winning track here. They got beat pretty handedly by the Chicago Bears last week in Chicago. Now they're getting a little bit of home cooking, getting the hometown crowd involved. But Green Bay Packer fans, they do travel quite well. So when they were making plays, I heard a lot of Green Bay Packer fans. All right, so 2nd and 3, Dak Prescott in a gun. It's like a play action pass. He steps up and he throws the ball. He checks it down. I believe that is Williams on the play, who is having a pretty solid season. All right, so we take a look at Micah Parsons. I'm pretty sure they're going to be highlighting him all night, going up against Tyler Guyton. He was able to get around the corner, almost got to Dak Prescott, and you better believe that he wants to win this football game in a major way, as well as sack Dak Prescott. So they're going to try to find ways to try to make sure Michael Parsons gets to him. Okay, so here we go. Here's a handoff. This is to Javonte Williams here. And he barrels forward, gets about 2 or 3 yards on the play. So this is a 2nd down. So the Dallas Cowboys are going to have to get the drive going. The game isn't out of hand. I mean, the Green Bay Packers were able to score on that opening drive, but you still have plenty of time to be able to make this game interesting, sustain this drive. We see Dak Prescott completed 71% of his passes. And that's pretty impressive there. Dak Prescott, a really solid quarterback. A lot of people's biggest gripe on him is him winning games of significance. All right, so Tolbert in motion, he goes around and he tries to go on a reverse, but he set on a play fake. Dak throws deep, and that pass is batted away. And Nixon, who is having an incredible season and has been the guy that stepped up since Jair Alexander is no longer with the team, he has emerged as that number one guy. All right, so that is a tough matchup going up against a speedster like Kevontae Turpin, but he's able to get that big paw out there and bat the ball away for an incomplete pass. All right, so we look at CeeDee Lamb, who is not playing in this game. He's dealt with an ankle injury last week and has had a little bit of the yips when it comes to catching passes as well. All right, so we got Williams in motion. He picks up the block. That pass is caught, and that is to Ferguson, but he does not have the first down. That's going to bring up fourth down, so you would think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to elect to punt. I don't think you need to stay out there if you're at the 30-yard line, but hey, wait a minute. Brian Schottenheimer is looking like they're going to go for it. I mean, this is a gamble right here. If you don't get this, you give the Green Bay Packers excellent field position. So I'm wondering if this is going to be a hard count, but it doesn't look like it. It's like they're going to try to go for this, or maybe not. All right, so the Green Bay Packers call a timeout there, and it also gives the Dallas Cowboys an opportunity to see if this is exactly what they want, because if you don't get this, you can find yourself down by 2 scores, regardless if they kick a field goal or not. Shouts out to everybody in the chat right now. Shouts out to everybody watching this, no matter where you are. Jackson Dart is coming. Not concerned about that. How much would Micah have helped the Saints if they would have been in the market for him? It would have helped them out tremendously. I mean, Micah Parsons is one of the best pass rusher in football. But, of course, the Green Bay Packers pretty much paid a king's ransom for him. But if he can pay dividends for him, I don't think nobody cares. But 4th and 1, Ferguson in motion. And look like Dak Prescott is trying to adjust the play there. Look like what they're trying to do. I'm wondering if they're actually going to snap this ball, or are they going to just get a delay of game penalty? Nobody is buying it. Nobody is selling it. So more than likely, this is going to be a punt. I don't understand the angle of this. But I guess if you get a 5-yard penalty, push back 5 yards, gives you a better chance of getting some, kicking this ball in field, I guess. I don't know. I don't understand it. Maybe y'all can make sense out of that for me. TJ, you think we beat the Giants? Do I think the New Orleans Saints can beat the Giants? I think they're capable of beating them, and if the New Orleans Saints play like they did against Buffalo, I think they'll have a chance. If we lose next week, you think Rattler gets benched? I think probably after that Patriot game. I think after that Patriots game, they probably going to they're probably going to end up like maybe making a move. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see, man. They won't snap it. Nah, they weren't gonna snap it. Is Olave getting too much of a pass for his ish play? Not for me. Not. I think Chris Olave is capable of great things. I just don't think he's a number one receiver. I don't think you can get some number one receiver play from him. But there's a few topics that I want to talk about throughout the night, and feel free to put your questions, your comments about your favorite NFL team inside of the comments. And I just encourage you to subscribe to the State of the NFL podcast channel. I'm going to go ahead and take a moment to put that link inside of the comments, so those that are not subscribed to the channel can indeed be. I know there are a lot of individuals that check out this on other streaming platforms that are open, but we do these live talks here on the State of the NFL. I live stream across different platforms, but if you want to get different videos, different topics pertaining to NFL teams, feel free to subscribe to the State of the NFL. But I do want to talk about the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns had a shocking victory over the Green Bay Packers last week, 13-10, and that's exactly how many points they scored today against the Detroit Lions. They lost 34-10. And in my opinion, I feel like the Detroit Lions are a better football team with Morton as well as Calvin Shepard as their defensive coordinator. It seemed like they've taken a step forward defensively with Calvin Shepard as their defensive coordinator, and it seemed like Johnny Morton, is coming into his own as an offensive coordinator. But when I look at the Cleveland Browns, you look at Joe Flacco, who they elected to be the starting quarterback. Let's look at his stats. He was 16-34, 184 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, sacked 3 times, a QBR of 12. You got 2 young quarterbacks in Dillon Gabriel as well as Shadur Sanders, who I'm pretty sure most of you already seen that Shadur Sanders talked to the media for the Cleveland Browns this week, saying that he feels like he can play the quarterback position better than some of the quarterbacks that he's seen in the league. And I'm going to be honest, I haven't really seen a lot of stellar quarterback play, maybe from a handful of guys. But look, I don't know what people expect for Shadur Sanders to say, or do they expect for him to say, oh, man, this dude better than me. That guy's better than me. This is a quarterback who is extremely confident. And if Joe Flacco plays the way that he is right now, like, shoot, I can understand why Shadur Sanders is saying that. But 1st and 10, here's a play fake, and they check it down, and this is to, all right, you got a big convoy down the field, and I believe that's Wilson. So Wilson, instead of Josh Jacobs, actually, that was a really good play right there. So what we see is we see Williams in motion. Everybody's eyes looking, expecting for him to do, take that end around, but instead they pass it off to the running back. I like that play right there. Might be something I do for the flag football team. I think that we need to implement that play. It was a really good end around. Instead, you throw it to the other guy when everybody just think that the ball is going end around. All right, so Wicks is in motion. You got Jordan Love in the gun. Wilson in the backfield. And they hand it off to Wilson. Wilson barrels forward. He's the bigger of the 2 backs that Green Bay has. But Eric Wilson is a very talented guy, man. Looked like he put on a little bit of weight since the last time I saw him, but he is a guy that takes advantage of his touches. And, most of the time they rely on Josh Jacobs, who doesn't have to leave the field because of his ability to be able to catch the ball and run in between the tackles. All right, I don't think they're going to snap this. This might be, they're going to go ahead and bring this into the second quarter. So a very eventful first quarter by the Green Bay Packers. Pretty much dominated the Dallas Cowboys, but it's still 7-0 with plenty of time. So this game is far from over. Gregor says, TJ, do you think the Saints should play the rookie next Sunday? I think it's time to see what he got. I'm just saying he might get a W. I really think Kellen Moore hasn't let Rattler cook yet. Look, I think that is, a little bit too early for them to do that. But, I mean, maybe they will. Who knows? But I think it's going to be a hard pill to swallow if you're Spencer Rattler and you're out there and you're making plays and, your team is not like looking like slaw out there with you being a quarterback. And then on top of that, if you go to Tyler Shuck, you're not going to be able to go back to Spencer Rattler. So if they start to really go off the rails, then you're setting yourself up to pretty much lose your football team for real. Because if Spencer Rattler is solid, right? I mean, not great, not good, this solid. And you have Tyler Shuck goes out there and he's making mistakes that rookies make, it's going to be hard for the team to get behind that. So the Saints got to be very careful. It's not as simple as, let's just see what the young guy can do. He's not the only one playing. You got other players that are around him that got to play as well. Let's see. Did Atlanta win today? Yes, they did. 34-27, I believe. They beat the Washington Commanders. Everybody says I'm him. What's wrong with the young man saying that about himself? I don't know. I think that I want a quarterback that's confident. I think the biggest issue with a lot of people when it comes to Shadir Sanders is that he's confident. And people are like, man, you aren't that good. I think that he's talented. I think that team is going to win because of him. Because I've watched this guy play like his entire collegiate career. Like he started out his career at my alma mater, Jackson State University. I think that he's a talented player. I just don't think that the Cleveland Browns want him. I don't think that Kevin Stefanski necessarily likes him. I don't think that he, likes the attention that he brings. And so I'm just wondering, like, why not send him somewhere else where he can go out there and maybe compete for a starting job? So if you don't think that he's a solid starting quarterback, then why have him on the bench? It's like they trying to humble this guy, try to make him come to grips that, oh, you're not as good as you think. But the reality is, this dude will never think the way that individual want him to think. He has confidence in his ability. He has confidence in himself. So, yeah. TJ, would you draft Drew Aller? Yes, I would draft Drew Aller. I don't look at, he threw an interception against Oregon last night. I don't look at, man, he had a bad first half. This is a big 6'5", 235-pound guy, and in my opinion, has the capability of being, that's an interception. That's picked off by Trayvon Diggs right there, brother of the guy who always in the tabloid, Stephon Diggs, but there is a flag on the play. Let's see what that's going to be. Really good interception right there. I'll get back to my my comment about Drew Aller in a second, but there is a little bit of a discussion here about the referees. I guess they're trying to figure out what's it going to be, but that was a really good play by Trayvon Diggs. All right, so, oh my goodness. 12 men after a really good clutch play right there by Trayvon Diggs, just jumps in front of Luke Musgraves. So just like that, I mean, a team that's shooting itself in the foot, you had a turnover, get the ball back to your offense, but instead it's 12 men on the field. Self-inflicted wounds right there by the Dallas Cowboys. All right, so Trayvon Diggs, really good cornerback. Could be susceptible to getting beat sometime. A little bit of feast or famine, but he has really good hands, really good ball skills, by a cornerback. Got Williams in motion on a 1st and 10. All right, so here we go. Wilson in the backfield. They send an end around by Savion Williams, and that goes absolutely nowhere. He gets back to the line of scrimmage, maybe got a yard on a play, but that's about it. And I'm seeing Wilson quite a bit in this game. I'm wondering the status of Josh Jacobs now. I've seen Wilson last drive, the running back. I haven't seen Josh Jacobs. Let's see if Josh Jacobs can be in this game, or maybe there's something going on because I haven't seen him. And as we see Brett Favre on the sideline. Brett Favre, man, all-time great Packer. All right, so here we go. Here's the throw, and that pass is caught. That was Luke Musgrave. Luke Musgrave was the guy that everybody thought would be doing what Tucker Kraft is doing as a tight end, but Luke Musgrave had dealt with some injuries, and I feel like it really stunned his growth and development as a tight end, but nonetheless, he's still capable of making plays like he just did. So 3rd and 2 for the Green Bay Packers as they slowly matriculate the ball down the field. Jordan Love trying to convert this 3rd down, trying to keep the pressure on the Dallas Cowboys and keep the crowd out of the game. Wicks in motion. Jordan Love in a gun, and they do a delayed handoff here to Josh Jacobs, who finally came back into the game, able to make somebody miss and get enough for the 1st down on a 3rd and 2. I mean, so just a whiff on a blitz right there. Kenneth Murray was right there in the center. I mean, he read the right read, but really good credit right there to the offensive lineman, able to pick it up at the very last minute. And Josh Jacobs was just able to squeak through. All he needs is a little crease to be able to get that 1st down. So 8 first downs right now to the Dallas Cowboys 1, and the clock continues to tick as we're at the 12-minute mark in the second quarter of this game. And, okay, Jordan Love in the gun looking. He rolls to his left, and he completes a pass, and that's to Tucker Kraft. But there's a flag on the play. You're wondering, is this going to be a holding penalty on the offensive line? So penalties have been the name of the game for both teams so far. All right, so we have another holding penalty on the offensive lineman. This is on Kennard going up against the defensive lineman for the Dallas Cowboys. And he tried to, just was not going to get there. Williams is like, man, where the flag at? And justifiably so. I mean, sometimes you got to live to fight another day. Don't want anybody to hurt your quarterback or make him, get hit. So sometimes you're going to take that. All right, so here we go. Golden in motion. And he looks and he checks it down here. And Chris Brooks tried to get upfield, but there's nowhere for him to go. Absolutely nowhere for him to go. So really good defensive stand so far by the Dallas Cowboys. So Mozzie Smith, man, this is a guy that the Cowboys are looking to possibly step up, make some plays. They drafted him in the first round a couple of years ago, and he's a guy that they're counting on. So the offensive line of the Green Bay Packers, these are big physical guys. They open up lanes for Josh Jacobs. They take a lot of pride in creating a clean pocket for Jordan Love. So you got a two running backs in the backfield here. All right, so a two-back set and the gun. Jordan Love looking, and he scrambles. He steps up. He throws it to Josh Jacobs with a block in front, and he runs. Josh Jacobs gets and barrels all the way down to about the 3-yard line, and Jordan Love, with the trickeration, thought that he was going to scramble on a play. Instead, he decides to throw the ball behind himself to Josh Jacobs, and Josh Jacobs is able to take it almost like a little delayed screen there, and he almost gets into the end zone. And wait a minute, did he get into the end zone? Okay, so he steps out of, almost got into it. Maybe if he would have launched that ball out, it would have been a touchdown, but this is going to set up first and goal at about the 3-yard line for the Dallas Cowboys. And let's see if they can cash this thing in. Jordan Love under center. And a play fake. A quick slant off to Romeo. Oh, Romeo with his second touchdown of the night. Wherefore art thou, Romeo? He's in the end zone for his second time tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So if you got Romeo Dive on your fantasy right now, you're eating, my friend. You're eating. Really good quick slant right there. Able to find Romeo Dobbs. My goodness. And self-inflicted wounds once again, because you got to remember that, and there's a block punt. And wait a minute. He's taking it down the sidelines to the 30, to the 20, to the 10. And the Dallas Cowboys have 2 points. And we already know the Green Bay Packers have had a history of questionable special teams play, and it rears its ugly head again. McManus blocked. Ball picked up, and Bell just takes it to the house. So, not a touchdown, but still, it can shift momentum. One of the most exciting plays in football is a block punt return for a touchdown, ladies and gentlemen, or like a special teams play. It's one of the most exciting plays in football. The Cowboys are the one team that I truly hate. I think a lot of people have like disdain for the Cowboys. Man, when the Falcons ever learned, they almost lost, and plus it was Marcus Mariota. They don't care. They don't care. They'll take it any way they want, but hey, man, they won, so you got to take advantage of those opportunities. Okay, we lose. How can they laugh? We beat them week 1. Look, man, Tampa Tampa lost to Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia one of the best team, if not the best team in the NFC. And what they only lost by, what was it, 6 points? They only lost by like 6 points. So, how can they laugh when they got butt whooped by the Panthers 30-0? And the Panthers got mud walked, mud stomped by the Patriots today. Patriots put up what, 42 points on? You got it wrong with Marcus Williams, Von Bell, Trey Hendrickson, Zach Bond, and even Michael Thomas. If they don't develop around Spencer, I think you get it wrong with him too. I think that the New Orleans Saints can't develop players. I think that they're bad at developing players, and that's just been an issue. When those players leave and go somewhere else, then all of a sudden they find prosperity. That's when they start like winning football games. That's when they start like living up to their potential. So, yeah. Who has the worst defense, Ravens or the Cowboys? I'm gonna say the Cowboys. I'm gonna say the Cowboys, which is crazy when you talk about the Ravens having a bad defense. Like that seemed like that's like that seemed like that's an oxymoron or something. Like, how can I don't know, man. It's just, they just synonymous. It's just synonymous with good defense. They always have been. It's crazy not for them to be giving up chunk plays and making mistakes. You know how the Falcons go on Tuesday. I'm just getting prepared. Roundtable Sports. Yeah, you already know. I mean, especially they're the only team in the division that won this today. The Buccaneers lost, Saints lost, Panthers lost. So you know they're going to be talking. Devontae Turpin tries to get down the field, but he's tackled right before he gets to the 30-yard line there. So there's a flag on the play. Got to believe that this is going to be on a return team. Most of the time it is. You rarely ever see a special teams play that gets a flag that doesn't involve the return team. So let's see what this is all about. Bucks team not healthy today. Yeah, I mean, but the thing about it is they've not been healthy all season, but they found ways to win. I just think that they went up against a really talented Eagles team. I don't think that's an indictment on how their season has been, but yeah, man. I mean, the Eagles are a good football team. All right, they're still trying to figure this thing out. Come on, man. We need to get back to football. Where is Mason Tipton? He actually played in the Saints game today against Buffalo. Yep. Yeah, like I said, most flags that you see on special teams are always going to be by the return team. Drew Aller, the next Josh Allen. That's who I see. Like that's who I see. Like when I'm talking about his upside. Like he's like 6'5", like 230 pounds, and he's a guy that has a really good arm. And look, man, I know that people are like, man, I'm out on him, but he has the talent. And if you go to a right situation, I think that he can be a really good quarterback. So, yeah, I like Drew Aller. I think that sometimes with our emotions about quarterbacks and we start looking at these games and, he threw an interception. I don't want him. Like, quarterbacks are going to throw interceptions. They're going to make mistakes. Nobody is perfect. But you want to see if that player can actually develop. Because what we see from Josh Allen right now, as we see, is who is that? Miles Sanders tries to take the ball and gets a few yards on the play. But we see these quarterbacks, like, man, they're going to make mistakes. You can't just sit up here and just think that is going to be, an indictment on them. And that's going to be the way that they're going to play the quarterback position. Because once again, Josh Allen was not who he was when he first came to the league. He was a guy that just threw the ball far, had a 60-yard bomb down the field, and was real fast and be jumping over guys' head. He developed into a really good quarterback. So we do have a holding penalty. It looks like the umpire is saying it's going to be a holding, but let's see who is it going to be. I mean, I understand about keeping the game clean, but it's way too many flags in this game, man. They gotta let them play. Gotta let them play. Let's see. We'll see if Cam Newton wants to come back. Cam Newton. I don't think Cam Newton coming back. Why get Devon Vele if you're throwing jump balls to Sheedy and the number 2 wide receiver, Chris Olave? Yeah, I said it. Yeah. I mean, look, I already said it. I'm not going to keep on beating up on Chris Olave. I think that he's talented. For number one, I think that he's dealing with a lot of things like psychologically. And number two, I just think that, in the process, he's lost his confidence. Oh, man, he's wide open. And Turpin tries to get up the field, but there is a flag on a play. And you have to wonder what this is going to be all about. So let's see what this is going to be. Is this going to be offensive pass interference? Or is it going to be on a defense? Let's see what they're going to call here. But it seemed like after every play, there's a flag. I mean, look like I'm watching an HBCU football game or something. Oh, so illegal formation on the offense of the Dallas Cowboys. All right, so self-inflicted wounds again by the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, Thomas, part of that illegal formation, and the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, every time they make a big play, seems like it's negated by just some boneheaded type stuff. I mean, you had an interception by Trayvon Diggs. You had a big time pass right there, which should have been a flag right there for roughing the passer. I mean, I think that they're playing football, but at the end of the day, we all know how they call penalties when it comes to the quarterback. All right, so Micah Parsons is in the game rushing the passer. Instead, they give a delayed handoff to their fullback here, gets him a little bit of work. But, of course, he didn't get the first down, so that's going to bring up fourth down. So I'm pretty sure the Dallas Cowboys realized that drive was a disaster. So they just tried to get a little bit of yards so we can make this punt, not as dangerous as it would be if we were trying to kick it out of the end zone. I was actually proud that we didn't have that many penalties. Let's see. Arch is too much hype. He's staying. He's not playing good. Yeah, man. I mean, look, they beat Sam Houston. Like, whoop-de-doo. Like, you're the Texas Longhorns. Of course you're supposed to beat Sam Houston. Of course you're supposed to goose egg them. And, those 4 touchdowns mean absolutely nothing. I think their next game they're playing against the Florida Gators. And, boy, Matthew Golden, welcome to the NFL, my friend. And all of a sudden, here comes a fight. But there's nothing to fight about because your boy got rocked. I mean, Matthew Golden, man, this is not, speaking of Texas, this is not the University of Texas. I mean, dude. Like, come on, man. What do you think this is? Like, maybe that worked when you playing against Sam Houston, but not when you're in the NFL. You get yourself rocked like that. But what a hit. A Mecca, Rookie of the Year, continue. Yeah, I agree. I don't think anybody's playing football as well on the offensive side of football as Emeka Egbuka is right now. I think that goes without saying. That kind of hit brings tears to your family's eyes. Yeah, definitely. Especially if your last name Golden sitting up in the suite. You don't want to see your young boy get rocked. And I'm pretty sure he has a nice amount of family members in a crowd because him going to the University of Texas. Let me see if he's actually from Texas. Yes, he is. He's from Houston, Texas. So I'm pretty sure they took that drive to watch him play. Let's see, Roger looking good over there. Rodgers is looking good over there in Pittsburgh. Yeah, I mean, that's a stable organization. They do things the right way. I'm pretty sure he likes Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin demands excellence. He demands excellence. So at the end of the day, it's all about, where you're at and the talent you put around you. Like, you have DK Metcalf to throw the ball to. Okay. All right. I'm drinking my sparkling water. I didn't want to drink it on camera because, of course, I'm behind a green screen. So when I put it up there, the can is green. So, but anyway, yeah, man. I mean, A lot of talent, a lot of talented young players in the league right now. I went 6-7 so far. We need to trade for some O-line players. I don't know, man. I thought the offensive line played pretty well today for the Saints. I mean, of course, Cesar Ruiz was struggling until he went out and Torricelli Simpkins came in. I thought the young man did better than what he did in Seattle when he was playing left guard. I mean, when you're next to Eric McCoy on the right side and you got Tallahassee back playing along with you, now you just all I got to do is just push this guy back. I thought Torricelli Simpkins played pretty well. And, I hate that Cesar Ruiz got hurt, but I don't think any Saints fan is just sitting up there like, dang, man, what we going to do without Cesar Ruiz? Dude is terrible. Not a good offensive lineman, and has been a liability on the offensive line for the last 2 seasons at least. All right, so I don't know, man. Well, that first pass that they just showed Jordan Love, that had to be like bad coverage or something like that, or somebody ran the wrong route. Because you don't necessarily see 2 wide receivers right next to each other. And that could have been disastrous because both of those guys could have went up for the football at the same time. Delayed handoff, he throws it to Matthew Golden, and Matthew Golden, what the hell are you doing, dude? This is not the University of Texas once again. Get your tail up the field, dude. Get your tail up the field. Like, and these young players, they come into the league, man, and they trying to reverse field and trying to make these guys miss. Man, you better get your behind up the field. All right, once again, we got a penalty on the play. That is always the true recipe of a terrible and very bad football team. Undisciplined play, unnecessary roughness, not playing after the whistle instead of trying to do it before the whistle. I mean, you have this guy dead to rights. I mean, you're going to lose yards. You lost about 6 or 7 yards on the play, but instead you want to go ahead and give a guy something extra. And now you're costing your team. So you would have had about a 5-yard loss, but instead now it's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down. If you're the Dallas Cowboys, you have got to play more discipline. The Green Bay Packers are already a good team as is. You don't need to give them something. All right, so here we go. All right, so we're checking. Okay, so he runs down the field, and it didn't end up being the way that they thought. But I like the play call. I like the play call right there. They trying to do a little something extra. I like that play. So what you have is, you got Savion Williams going in motion. You give it to him on a handoff. He throws it back. He throws it back to Jordan Love, and Jordan Love was supposed to get the ball down the field. So see if they can actually make that play. Let's see if they can make. I'm pretty sure they're probably gonna go back to that later on in the season. I wonder if it's gonna be successful next time. But really good coverage by the Cowboys. Wasn't buying it. As we see Josh Jacobs barrels forward, he gets about 1 or 2 yards on the play. So this is going to bring up third down for the Green Bay Packers. And as they have a 13-2 lead over the Cowboys. But I like that play, though. So a handoff. And then when you get a handoff, you throw the ball to the quarterback. Quarterback throws the ball down the field. I like that play. All right, so here we go. Jordan Love looking, and he throws the ball deep down the field, and nobody's there. He tried to get it to Wicks, but that is going to be an incompletion. That's going to bring up fourth down, and the Green Bay Packers are going to have to punt. But wait a minute, there's an injury. And Malik Hooker, the safety for the Dallas Cowboys, looked like he's in pain, man. He can't even put any pressure on his leg there. So he's getting some help from the medical team there. Hopefully everything is okay with him. All right, so they're going to punt the ball back. You got Kevontae Turpin back to return the punt on a 4th and 5. So really good defensive stand by the Dallas Cowboys after that boneheaded unnecessary roughness penalty. They're able to weather the storm and get Green Bay off the field. All right, so here's the punt. And that ball is bouncing, and it's up in the air, and really good special teams play right there. being able to down the ball inside of the 5-yard line. So really good work there by the special teams unit. Definitely needed that type of motivation and inspiration and, and type of play in order for you to go back out there after that debacle on special teams that gave the Dallas Cowboys their first couple points of the game. Drew Aller, Dante Moore, and John Mateer are great. Is guy I would go after maybe Sellers. So look, let's talk a little bit about some of those guys. All right, let's talk a little bit about them. All right, and I'm pretty sure a lot of sports fans probably are looking at quarterbacks, like Mateer and Dante Moore. Look, I like Dante Moore's poise. His poise kind of resembles Jaden Daniels to me. Like he's never too high, never too low. The moment never looks too big for him. I just like his confidence. I think he's a gamer. He has really good arm talent. So I think that he's a solid quarterback. I like his composure. I think that you can, in the right situation, he can hit the ground running right away if you put some things around him. Mateer, I think that he's a guy that is a warrior. He's a tough guy. He's a guy that's never going to quit. He can make some really good throws. And, I think that he'll probably be a really solid quarterback in the league. And Drew Aller, even though I feel like he is not a finished product, I think that if he goes to the right situation, he can be a solid quarterback in the NFL too. He has the size. He has the arm talent. You just have to go to a team that can actually put you in the right position to succeed. He's a guy, man, that, he's hard to bring down. He can scramble a little bit. He's not the fastest quarterback in the world, but I do feel like, he has that upside and that ability to be able to be a successful quarterback in the NFL. TJ, I remember the days of great special teams play. Don't we all? Don't we all? Don't we all? But these days, the special teams play has been awful, and not just for just the Saints or the Green Bay Packers. Like it has been pretty rough across the board for a lot of teams. They've had bad special teams play, missed field goals, missed opportunities. Guys, repeat after me. Garrett Nussmeier is not a good quarterback. I don't want to say he's not a good quarterback. I just don't see the hype behind him. I don't see people are talking about like this dude a top 5 quarterback in the league. He is not a top 5 quarterback in the league. He is a game managing quarterback that in the right situation, you'll probably have a guy that stays ahead of the curve. But if you're talking about a guy that is going to make the play, as we see George Pickens get his first reception of the game tonight, we're talking about a guy who can make the play to win the game consistently at that franchise quarterback position. Probably not. And if you have a quarterback that's a third round or fourth rounder not being able to do that, then it's more understandable than a guy you picked in the top 5 not being able to make big plays in big time moments. And speaking of George Pickens, he came over via trade from the Pittsburgh Steelers to the Cowboys, and now is his opportunity to step up in the absence of CeeDee Lamb. All right, so here's a check down here to Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders makes somebody miss. He tries to get up the field, and he gets about a few yards on the play. Gets very close to the first down, and he's signaling somebody else to come in. So they're gonna go ahead and take Miles Sanders out. We take a look at Brian Schottenheimer, the son of the late Marty Schottenheimer, really good coach back in his day. All right, so Dallas Cowboys in the gun on his 2nd and 1. Turpin goes around, goes in motion. They hand the ball off to Williams. Williams gets upfield, fights, and he gets the first down and a little bit more. And now you got some extracurricular activity already, man. I mean, the offensive lineman, you can see at the bottom, at the top of your screen, the offensive lineman basically pushed this man out of bounds. And, man, there's a lot of bad blood in this game. Very chippy football game this has been. If you're the Dallas Cowboys, you pretty much heard that the Green Bay Packers have owned you. And, I'm pretty sure they take exception to that. But you got to stay within yourself. You can't shoot yourself in the foot. You can't constantly make these mistakes. And that's an indictment, once again, on the head coach when you don't have your team under control. And these referees, they're too familiar to the television audience right now. Something you don't want. So right now, that's like a way of saying, okay, now guys, okay, all right, we'll let us a little bit slide, but okay, let's get it together. So next time, they probably gonna really bring down on it because those are offsetting penalties there. All right, so Micah Parsons has been relatively quiet tonight. As we look at the 2nd and 1, Turpin in motion, and they hand it off, and Williams able to slice through 2 defenders that were able to get to the backfield, but there's nothing there. So let's take a look. Micah Parsons has Tyler Guyton. I mean, the one thing about the Dallas Cowboys, we already know. Like, they know how to neutralize Micah Parsons. I mean, they know everything about him. They drafted him. And I'm pretty sure all those practices, they had plenty of time and footage to be able to know how to neutralize number 1. But you can tell he's motivated. And there's a check down there, and he tries to give it to Williams, and Williams spins forward past the line of scrimmage, gets about 3 yards on the play. So it's going to bring up 2nd down for the Dallas Cowboys. And we're about 3:20 left in the 2nd quarter, and the Dallas Cowboys are on the move. And it's about that time for the Cowboys to try to get into the end zone. So Javonte Williams coming over from the Denver Broncos, has some injuries throughout his career and has really played well for the Cowboys this season. All right, so Micah Parsons on the field on a 2nd and 8. Once again, they're going to be highlighting this matchup all night. All right, Micah Parsons almost gets forward, and he checks it down, and he almost gets there, but instead, you get yourself a 1st down by the tight end. So all right, so here we go here. All right, so it looked like Dak Prescott was actually going to get sacked, but instead, he was able to check it down to about his 3rd read, and really good play. So you got Tolbert in motion, and it's a play action. Dak looking, he checks it down to Miles Sanders, got a little bit of a convoy up front, and he's able to make someone miss, and he gets down the field, and he's very close to the 1st down. So really good play right there. So, okay, so we have a injured Green Bay Packer on the field right now, and that's Wyatt. So yeah, if he's hurt, man, that's really huge for them. They really count on this guy to make plays on the defensive side of football. Lamar Jackson is also hurt, will probably miss a couple of weeks. Yeah, that's unfortunate right there. Him being out. I mean, but man, this is a huge blow this year. You got Joe Burrow gonna be out for a while. Brock Purdy just came back. And then you got Jaden Daniels. He's hurt. Lamar Jackson now is hurt. So you hate to see that kind of stuff, man. You hate to hear about guys like Lamar Jackson, because I mean they're so important to the NFL when it comes to them being out there and available. That's what people want to see. But he ends up getting hurt. Cooper Rush comes into the game. Let's take a look, man. Let's see what the reports are saying about Lamar Jackson, who dealt with the injury. But let's see what this is all about. All right. So Lamar Jackson, he leaves the game with a hamstring injury. This is according to Pro Football Talk. Says a frustrating day for the Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson appears to have come to an early end. And they said Cooper Rush replaced Jackson after the Ravens fell behind to the Chiefs 30-13 late in the 3rd quarter. The Ravens said that Jackson suffered a hamstring injury and called him questionable to return. Given the score, it seemed more likely than not that Jackson will be out for the rest of the game. He was 5 of 5 for 50 yards and a touchdown on the opening drive of the game, but he went 9 of 15, 97 yards the rest of the way, and the Ravens have not returned to the end zone. Jackson threw his first interception of the season, and he also lost a fumble after colliding with center Tyler Ladenbroom on a run. The Ravens will host the Texans next Sunday, and Jackson's status will be closely monitored heading into that game. So a lot of question marks right there surrounding Lamar Jackson. But, if he's dealing with a hamstring injury, we know that Lamar Jackson, his legs are extremely beneficial to his success and how he plays the quarterback position. So the fact that he could possibly be hurt and not be out there is very, very alarming if you're a Ravens fan or a Ravens player. My Ravens lost again, TJ. Are you concerned? A lot of fellow Ravens fans blame John Harbaugh and not holding players accountable. You think we will go on in winning streak, then get stomped in the playoffs? Well, that's a good question, Ravens sports media. I never count out the Ravens. I think that right now they're dealing with some things. I think they miss Mike McDaniel without a shadow of a doubt. It seems like something is indeed missing defensively. And offensively, it just seemed like they just weren't all there. They got to figure it out, man. Teams are not just going to walk in and be like, oh, man, we got the Ravens. Oh, man, oh, man, we're going to lose today. The Ravens are going to have to step it up. I'm not blaming John Harbaugh. He's been a head coach for the Ravens for a long time, man, over a decade. And, they just had some growing pains. I don't think a coach just automatically just stop holding guys accountable. I just think that they're in uncharted waters. They're in uncharted territory where people aren't used to seeing the Ravens in this type of situation. So of course you're going to be always looking to who is responsible. But I don't think it's any particular person. The games that they lost, for the exception of this one, they were in the game. It was just a few mishaps. You think about the game versus the Bills. I mean, they were dominating that game. Like, if you look at the stats alone without looking at the score, you would think that Baltimore won the football game. They just have to learn to close, and they have to be able to continue to keep the pressure on their opponent and not lay off. I think, I don't think it's time to panic in Baltimore. I just think that they just going to have to figure it out and finish strong. All right, so 2nd and 2 for the Dallas Cowboys. You got Dak Prescott under center. He sends Turpin in motion, and they hand the ball off. This is to Miles Sanders. He gets up the middle, and he gets enough for the first down as we are under 2 minutes with about 1 minute and 50 seconds left. If you are the Dallas Cowboys, you're trying to leave as little time as possible on the clock for Green Bay, and you're trying to cash it in with a touchdown instead of a field goal. But if you have to kick a field goal, you got one of the best kickers in football in Brandon Aubrey. All right, so here we go. Dak under center again, and this is a play action. He looking. He throws the ball down the field, and that pass is complete to George Pickens for the first down. George Pickens, again, being very active on this drive. So really good pass right there. Really good catch there by George Pickens. Really good pass by Dak Prescott. So Dak Prescott 6 of 6 on this drive for 55 yards. We know that Dak Prescott is capable. He can go over 300 yards. He can put up those big numbers. But sometimes Dak Prescott makes crucial turnovers and crucial mistakes when the team does not need it in close games. All right, so here we go. Back to center. And he throws the ball up there to a fade, and George Pickens comes down with the football. Whoa, what a catch by George Pickens. Double covered. And that is what George Pickens brings to the table. He is the type of guy who has really good body control. And he's able to contort his body. But the question is, did he get 2 feet in bounds? Did that second toe? That's 1 foot. That is 2 feet. That is a catch, ladies and gentlemen. What a catch by George Pickens. And here we go. 1st and goal for the Cowboys. They hand it off to Javonte Williams, and he gets stuffed. Stuffed, crushed right there, ladies and gentlemen. 2nd and goal for the Cowboys. They tried to bring it in, and George Pickens, man, my goodness, double cover right there. How do you come down with that football? And there we go. Really good catch right there. Really good body control. Don't see any bobbling of the football. And that is what George Pickens can bring to the table. He's that guy, man. Every now and then you just see guys that could just come down with the football. Doesn't matter what situation you put him in, he's going to come down with it. All right, so CeeDee Lamb on the sideline, blinged out with the grill. Excited, turned up. All right, so here we go. 2nd and goal for the Cowboys. We see Williams coming back to the backfield. We got Dak in the gun, looking. Dak scrambles, and he barrels forward for the touchdown. Dak Prescott takes it himself. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves a ball game. The Dallas Cowboys get themselves on the board with their first touchdown of the night. Dak Prescott looks, kind of fakes it a little bit, but when you're like 6'3", 6'4", 240 pounds, it is hard to bring a guy like that down, and Dak Prescott takes it himself, and Brandon Aubrey is out for the extra point. And if his career tells us anything, more than likely this kick will be good. So a 4-point game for the Dallas Cowboys, 13-9, after a clutch catch by George Pickens over 2 defenders. And then you have Dak Prescott sneaking it in. And that is a touchdown, ladies and gentlemen. We got ourselves a ball game. And you're tuned in to the State of the NFL podcast. It is yours truly, TJ Jones. Happy to be with you to give you the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football. And if you want to interact throughout the show, all you have to do is put your comments inside of the chat. Doesn't matter if you're a fan of these teams or not. We will gladly take your questions and answer them to the best of our ability. All right. Let's go ahead and stroll up a little bit, see what some people are saying. I don't want TJ Parker not sold on Clemson pass. Oh, absolutely not. No, sir. No, sir. Not. No way. I'm good on that. I mean, I'm over that, but yeah, I'm not buying into these Clemson pass rushes. I've never even heard of a bad Ravens defense. What world did I wake up in? Yeah, I've never heard of that. You're right. I've never heard of a bad Ravens defense. Parsons ain't that great. I said that when he was a cowgirl, and I'm going to say it now. Everyone sacked Carr last season except Parsons. Let's see. Hey, TJ, this New Orleans Saints 2025 team, Vince Lombardi or Bill Walsh couldn't win with these yahoos. Yeah, it's pretty bad, man. It's pretty bad down in New Orleans, going 0-4. Man, right now, like one of the worst teams in the game. But, hey, man, if you're a New Orleans Saints fan right now, I got some good news for you. As of right now, if the NFL draft took place on today, the New Orleans Saints would have the number 1 pick in the draft. I mean, because, look, they already lost the game. The New York Jets haven't played yet, so the Saints are 0-4. So, according to, the draft order, the New Orleans Saints would jump in front of the Jets, being the number 1 pick in the draft. So, the New Orleans Saints, as of right now, have the number 1 pick, followed by the Tennessee Titans and the New York Jets. So, the Saints have the first pick in the draft right now. So, if you're a New Orleans Saints fan and think that, oh, man, this is a disaster, well, hey, check it out, ladies and gentlemen. The New Orleans Saints have the first pick in the draft right now. Let's see. What a catch, says James. We need one of them. You think we win next week? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that the New Orleans Saints have a chance. If they play the way that they played last, this past Sunday versus the Bills, I think they have a chance. It will be bad for the rookie quarterback. Who That Nation and TJ, what's going on, Jared? Thank you for being here on the live watch along. Cowboys versus Green Bay Packers. 41 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Green Bay is holding on to a 13-9 lead. The Dallas Cowboys get the ball to start the third quarter. You got the Green Bay Packers have one timeout. Ball at the 20-yard line. Want to see if they're going to try to push this ball down the field. What are they going to try to do here? All right, so Jordan Love in the gun, looking some more, and he tries to throw the ball down the field, but nothing's there, and he just throws it at the feet of Josh Jacobs. So that's going to bring up second down. So Jordan Love wanted to go deep, but the Dallas Cowboys did not want to give them anything deep down the field. So there you go. The Green Bay Packers on a 2nd and 10, and credit to the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, you had a few mishaps defensively, but it seemed like they kind of zeroed in on the Green Bay Packers, and they have not been as effective. All right, so here we go. 35 seconds left. Jordan Love looking some more, throws the ball down the field, and that is almost intercepted. All right, so Romeo Doubs there trying to make an incredible catch, but man, that was a very dangerous pass by Jordan Love. Like, you look at Jordan Love in a gun, you have Wilson kind of, eyeing him, paying attention to him. He throws it down the field, able to check it, and that should have been an interception. And it probably would have been if Romeo Doubs didn't put his hand out there. He was right there. He was watching the eyes of Jordan Love, and I don't think Jordan Love saw that. All right, so 3rd and 10. So you have to wonder, like, what are they going to do here? Are they going to hand the ball off? But no, they don't have that in mind. In the gun, Jordan Love looking, checks it down to Tucker Kraft. He has a convoy in front, and he gets the first down. So 19 seconds left, and the timeout is called by the Green Bay Packers to stop the clock, trying to get some points on the board, trying to maybe get into field goal range where McManus can try to kick a long field goal. And if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you're trying to get a stop. TJ, how much you want to bet if we lose next week, Rattler gets benched? I don't want to bet on that. I mean, I can't. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. I mean, it could be, but I don't think it's going to be an indictment on Rattler. If he does get benched, I just think that the Saints might want to just go in a different direction. TJ, on the last stream, that caller gave me a major headache. I don't know which one you're talking about. But look, all I know is, we had a good time over there, man, on the post game. I think we all are in agreement with that. If you tuned into the State of the Saints podcast, I cover the New Orleans Saints for those that are NFL fans. I cover the New Orleans Saints for Bleacher Report, as well as just being my hometown team. But I like to pride myself not being super biased about the Saints. So I have a lot of committed Who That Nation members who love the Saints, and we have a good time over there. So if you're a fan of the NFC South or just want to hear what the opposition is saying, always come over and have a good time. TJ, Falcon fans talking crazy like they went against Jaden Daniels. Man, I don't even pay no attention to them, man. I really don't. I mean, I know they're glad that they won, but I don't pay no attention to no Falcons, man. I don't pay no attention to that because they grandstanding hot dog too much. And here we go. It's a loss of the football, and it looked like it's picked up by the Dallas Cowboys. So, whoa, man. So the Dallas Cowboys have a chance to go into the half with the lead. So Jordan Love didn't feel the pressure coming behind him. The ball is stripped, and you got the hat trick. I mean, you got Houston in there, like sack, the strip, and a recovery. So James Houston, I'm going to take a little pride there, former Jackson State Tiger, Jackson State University alum right there, James Houston making plays. I like that kid. All he does is just make plays, man. All right, so here we go. The Dallas Cowboys have a chance of going into the locker room with the lead, or they could be down 1 point. All right, so Dak Prescott looking, and he snaps the ball. in the gun, throws it down the field. Yeah, that pass is caught by George Pickens for the touchdown. What a turn of events. The Green Bay Packers getting stingy, being too cute. Could have ran the ball to try to end the half, but instead, sack, strip, fumble turns into a George Pickens red zone touchdown. And in the last minute and a half, the Dallas Cowboys have come alive versus the Green Bay Packers. And you think Dak Prescott wants this football game? Absolutely. Snap placement kick on the way, and it is good. So how the tables have turned. Matt LaFleur, not his finest hour as a coach. Dallas Cowboys making this thing interesting in the last minute and a half. And they also get an opportunity for a 2-for-1 because they get the ball back at the start of the second half. Wow. What the heck was Matt LaFleur thinking with that play call and that decision making? I already read a couple of these. Dallas got the ball. TJ, are you into nature? I've been watching stuff on shark and dolphins lately. Dolphins are actually way more vicious than sharks. You have to talk to my wife about that one, Josh. Yeah, she's been on that little mammal kick. That, I mean, I won't say I don't watch it. It's just, is it my go-to thing? Probably not. But my wife, she's been like really interested in that type of stuff. I guess, I don't know if I'm the only person that does this. Do y'all put on like history stuff or documentaries or something like that to help you sleep at night? I'm kind of like that. Like I'm like Josh, I'm a real big history buff. Like I was a history major before I changed my major to communications when I was in college. And I'm just real fascinated with history and stuff. So I always fall asleep with like a history documentary or, something that happened in the past. But when it comes to like sharks and all that kind of stuff, that's kind of like my wife thing. Let's see. Hey, TJ, if you can remember, Jim Mora used to say we had a great practice, then go out on Sunday and fall on their face. And Kellen Moore is saying that mess now. I mean, I believe they had a good practice this week. I mean, the way that they played good enough. But, when you go up against a team like the Buffalo Bills, sometimes your best is not good enough. They just find a way to win. So I think they had a good week of practice. I mean, they minimized the mistakes. You didn't really see them shooting themselves in the foot. It was just, it was just an unfortunate circumstance. Like they just went up against a really good football team. Do Vele becomes number one? Does Vele become a number one? Let's ask the bishop.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no.
Yeah, I don't think so, man. I don't think that's happening. Maybe a contributor in your wide receiver room, yes. But number one, no. I don't think that happened. Yeah, I do it sometimes. Me too, TJ. Yeah, man. I that's just what I do. I fall asleep to documentaries and little interesting things, or like some type of, calm music or something like that, or positive affirmations. That's the kind of things I fall asleep to. All right, so Matt LaFleur trying to justify that bad play calling. Talking about being resilient. Nah, you just gotta call better plays. Now you trying to be a jerk about it. You're trying to push that ball, and that just was not good play calling. I love the History Channel. I also love going to sleep listening to a long form interview of some sort. Yeah, I mean, I'm more like a history while you sleep type. I like them why it sucks videos, like why does it suck to be born a gladiator? Why does it suck to, be born in this time? Like I like stuff like that, like little funny, intriguing history facts. I'm just that type of guy. I only ask because if we trade Olave, who's number one now? Well, Chris Olave on the team, and I'm wondering who the number one is. I'll bet anyone Rattler won't get benched at least until week 8 or 9 at all. He may never get benched this season because right now, for the whole month, he's been building rapport. Why would you pull him? I guess what New Orleans Saints fans are saying because the team isn't winning. But I don't feel like you're going to win with Tyler Shuck either. Not at this point. I think eventually. But the Saints know what they're doing, man. You don't want to just thrust this dude into the lineup. I'm talking Tyler Shuck, and he's just not prepared for the moment. Now, if it's like later on down the line and the Saints like continue to lose football games and don't win, then yeah, let's have the conversation. Let's talk about it. But right now, like you know, I was saying on my podcast that a couple bad throws or throwing the ball behind a player is not going to get Spencer Rattler benched. It's just not, like it has to be like some unfortunate circumstances. He isn't playing like as much as some Saints fans may not accept this. He's not playing bad enough or he's not causing the team to lose football games. Like if he was like just throwing interceptions and throwing picks and, this, that, and the third, like fumbling the football all the time, like then I think we'll have a conversation. But he's keeping guys ahead of the chains. He's battling out there. He's using every bit of talent that God has given him in order to put the team in the best position to win. They're not going to bench him because of that. Like you'll probably see a benching come up maybe down the line, like in a couple of weeks. Because, look, man, the Saints understand where they are as a team. This isn't like, I know some people like, well, look at what the Giants did with Russell Wilson and Jackson Dart. It's two completely different situations. You have Brian Daboll and the general manager who are on a hot seat. Like their job is in jeopardy. If the Giants don't win, then they're going to lose their job. So, of course, they're going to go ahead and use the young rookie and put him out there to provide a spark. With the Saints, you got Kellen Moore for the next 2 to 3 years. And the Saints understand that this isn't going to be the best season or they haven't put Kellen Moore in the best situation. So it's different. So with that, you can go out there and prolong this process because nobody in the organization is judging you based on the 2025 New Orleans Saints team. That's just not happening. That is just not happening. They are not judging him based on it. It's completely different. So because of that, he can go out there with Spencer Rattler every single week. He can go out there and put Spencer Rattler out there, and it won't be an indictment of him as a coach because the Saints organization understands that the guy came in with questionable salary cap, with aging players, and you have to get younger and try to turn around his roster. So as long as that's possible and that's going on, you're going to have the organization having a lot of grace and patience with Kellen Moore. I don't think they're going to be judging Kellen Moore until next year. Like that's when I feel like they're really going to be like evaluating him. You risk Rattler's development by starting Tyler mid-season. Only way he gets in if Rattler is injured. Or if the season just completely goes off the rails. Look at Rattler's stats, similar to Lamar Jackson, only threw 1 or 2 interceptions. I love what I've seen from Rattler today, using his legs. He's playing so well. I feel bad for him. Yeah, I think that he's playing well enough for the team to win. The problem is, I don't think they have enough talent on the offensive side of football. Like too much close-knit type stuff. Like it has to be like he has to put it like right on the numbers for these guys to catch. Like we just seen George Pickens catch a pass, an unbelievable catch over 2 defenders. Who on the Saints team do you look at right now that can do something like that? Like Spencer Rattler just throw the ball up there and you just think one of these receivers is going to come down with it. Which one? Like it's hard for us to accept this, but some quarterbacks need a supporting cast. Tyler Shuck will probably be one of them. Spencer Rattler is one of them. Like, you got to be able to understand it. Like, everybody is not going to be Josh Allen. Everybody's not going to be Patrick Mahomes. Everybody not going to be Lamar Jackson putting the team on the back. Sometimes you need a supporting cast around a guy. And that doesn't mean that he doesn't have redeeming qualities. He doesn't have saving grace. He shouldn't have saving grace. He shouldn't be like a playoff caliber quarterback. Like, you can make the playoffs. You can make deep runs in the playoffs with a game managing quarterback, but you got to be able to put some players around him. How about getting some guys that can get yards after the catch? How about a guy that can make somebody miss? When you don't have that, it's like, wow. Let's see. You think Chase Young comes back next week? He was on the sidelines today, so I guess that's a positive thing. Who that record says season already off the rails. Yeah, it's pretty bad. But I mean, like that old song says, Mama said there'll be days like this. And I think everybody kind of knew what the Saints were going to be. Drew Brees made stars. Yep, he made the stars on offense. I heard this can be Dak's last year with the Cowboys. If that's the case, then I think the Saints might be the front runner to get him. Like if they don't, like, okay, man, we don't want Shuck. You know that Kellen Moore understands Dak, and they've been together since for about 4 or 5 years. So Drew Brees made stars out of undrafted receivers, but very few can do it. Spencer could be on an Eli Manning level, though, in the future. I mean, I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see what the point they're trying to make. I can understand where you're coming from. I think that Eli Manning was a solid quarterback. I think a lot of people hold him in high regard because of those 2 Super Bowl victories. But outside of that, it was some average quarterback play. That's the reason I think he's not in the Hall of Fame right now. He'll probably eventually get into the Hall of Fame the way things are, and the fact that he's a Manning. The NFL world just kind of hold those guys in high regard, so they hold them to a different type of standard. But yeah, I can see that, like an average quarterback that can play above average at times. But, Eli Manning was like next level in the playoffs. Like, it's like he had out of body experience or something. It's like he just summoned the spirit of a Joe Montana or something. Like, I can't explain it. He'll be like average, a little bit above average during the regular season, and otherworldly where it matters most. And I think that a lot of fans would take that any day of the week. Keeping Nussmeier because they're more than likely drafting his son first round or second. If they do that, that'll be a mistake. I ain't gonna lie, TJ. I want a star at quarterback. I want someone who can put the team on his back. But do you think Dak that though? Man, Dak is capable. I don't know you're gonna go to no Super Bowl with no Dak Prescott. But Dak Prescott definitely can put a team on his back. Dak Prescott definitely can, push the ball down the field. Dak Prescott definitely gonna win you some football games. So I don't know, like, if he gonna, I don't know if he's gonna get you to the ultimate goal, but Dak Prescott definitely can win you some football games. That we know. I mean, he has facilitated countless 4th-quarter comebacks and put up some monster numbers. So yeah. But look, I understand that you want a quarterback, you want somebody to put a team on his back. But even with that, like, even if the Saints, like, develop Tyler Shuck to be something special, like, it's still going to take some time. It's still going to be a process before he can actually be what you need him to be. All right, but we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to be back at the start of the second half. So go ahead and get yourself something to drink, chill a little bit, and we'll reconvene at the start of the second half. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Start of the second half here on the State of the NFL podcast. TJ Jones with you for this Sunday Night Football edition. Dallas Cowboys taking on the Green Bay Packers. The Cowboys have a 16-13 lead over the Packers, and it kind of took place in the last minute and 20 seconds of the second quarter, where the Dallas Cowboys were able to drive down the field, score a touchdown, and the Green Bay Packers tried to add some points before the half, but a strip sack on Jordan Love set up the Dallas Cowboys in really good field position, and they were able to cash it in one play later. Dak Prescott to George Pickens, and now they are holding on to a 16-13 lead, but there's a flag on the play as the Dallas Cowboys offense take the field to start the second half. And, of course, the penalties have been very alarming when it comes to the undisciplined play of both teams, not just the Cowboys, but the Packers as well. A lot of chippiness throughout this game. You can tell that both teams want this. Dallas definitely wants it. Dak Prescott has heard the talk and the whispers about the Green Bay Packers not, being like owning him. And even though he's put up some big numbers against the Packers, he hasn't beaten the Packers in I don't know how long. All right, so here we go. Dak Prescott under center. He throws a quick pass off, and it was to George Pickens, but uncharacteristically, he actually drops that. I mean, so you make a catch over two defenders, you allow Dak Prescott to thread the needle, and he can't catch a quick slant. So, yeah, sometimes like you try to catch those passes, and then the next thing you know, ladies and gentlemen, it's like you're looking at the linebacker. You're thinking about the next move you're going to make. You got to secure the ball. You got to be able to secure the ball there. So George Pickens, after kicking that tough catch right there, exactly what I said. Mike Tirico echoing my sentiments. You catch a sensational catch like that, and then all of a sudden a quick slant you cannot catch. Yeah. But anyway, 2nd and 15, you got Dak Prescott in the gun. You got the running back in the backfield with him. That's Williams. Williams cuts, and he gets past the line of scrimmage, but he gets about 1 yard on the play. So this is going to bring up a 3rd and maybe 14 for the Dallas Cowboys. You have to wonder, are they going to try to run the football again, or are they going to try to push the ball down the field? All right, so Wyatt, this is huge right here. Wyatt ends up getting hurt, looked like maybe his knee. And now we see Miles Sanders walk into the locker room with no shoe on. So both teams are losing key players in a big-time matchup right here. All right, so here we go. We see him pressuring. Dak Prescott looking, throws the ball down the field, going deep, and that pass is incomplete. He tries to get it to Jalen Tolbert, but really good coverage right there. All right, so, I mean, you got basically, for looking at this is clearly cover one, where you got one safety in the middle of the field right here. He can decide what direction he wants to go in, and ball is in the air right there. And, really good coverage right there by the Green Bay Packers, playing that cover one. Who else you going to get? You may have to stockpile quarterbacks in the draft because there's no solid free agent to pick up. That's Romeo Doubs on a return, and he gets out of bounds. Where's the flag? That clearly should have been a flag. He got tackled like 2 or 3 yards out of bounds there. I don't know how you didn't call that a flag. But I don't know. You talk about stockpiling draft picks. Yeah, I mean, and there's another thing. Like, man, you don't need to be out here trying to get yourself a free agent quarterback. Like, man, if I don't, one thing that bothers me, and I'm not saying this about you, Ronald, at all, man. I just want to bring this up. I don't know what Saints fans' deal is about recreating history. I just don't. Like, history is a moment in time that in some cases we appreciate or we don't appreciate. In this case, the Saints history, they appreciate it. The Drew Brees, Sean Payton era was great, right? It was a moment in time which the Saints have yet to replicate and never had before. But that doesn't mean that you have to have the same thing happen and restructure your team the same exact way. Narratives and history is built every day, B. Like sometimes you're going to have to draft a quarterback and allow him to go through the motions and saying, oh, well, he didn't complete that pass and that guy was wide open. You know, like, come on, man. Like, young quarterbacks are going to make mistakes. They are going to probably throw an interception that cost their team the game. But in the process, you will hope that they develop into a plan in giving you some solid quarterback play. Like it's not coming. I don't understand it. I think that you have individuals that feel like, okay, man, let's draft this dude, and all of a sudden, like, we're gonna be winning every game. It's gonna take some time. Not many teams find that franchise quarterback right away. If they end up being a franchise quarterback, then maybe in their first year, it's probably going to be some growing pains. So I don't have an issue. I don't have an issue with being patient. I just want to see a quarterback get better every single week. I want to see him improve. I want to see him grow as a player. And if that's the case, then I think you got yourself something special. But I think when people start evaluating a quarterback position, they want perfection right away, and that's not always the case. 1st and 10 for the Green Bay Packers. You got Jordan Love under center. Matthew Golden in motion is a play action. Looking, and he checks it down. This is the Josh Jacobs, and he gets up the field enough for the first down. He's able to beat the linebacker around the corner. So that's the 1st and 10 for the Green Bay Packers. And it's time for them to start getting rolling. I feel like they were trying to be too aggressive, trying to push the ball down the field, forcing the passes down the field. You got to be able to take what the defense gives you. So if they're giving you those short intermediate routes like that check down that Josh Jacobs just caught, take it. TJ, Geno Smith is playing scared out there. I mean, he is just terrified, and he reverted back to the old Geno because of it. I mean, the offensive line of the Raiders is not necessarily good, is he? So I think that could have something to do with it, but it could be where he was. I mean, I thought that he would play much better, Josh, because you had Pete Carroll as the coach, and I thought that Pete Carroll would be able to get the best out of him. We know that he did before when Pete Carroll signed him right before he left the Seattle Seahawks. So I don't know, man. I just think that homie need to play better, but but maybe this is it, man. Like, you got yourself 3-4 good years of Geno, and maybe this is his ceiling. So, if he continues to play like this, you're probably going to end up seeing what Kenny Pickett can do. Brady came, won a Super Bowl, and left. Wham, bam, thank you, fam. Oh, it does. The O-line is garbage. I don't blame Geno for being scared. He's 34 and can't take hits on every play. I mean, Josh, this could be his ceiling. I mean, we've seen him play the quarterback position at a pretty high level from time to time, but maybe this is the best that Geno Smith is going to be able to be. Maybe this is one of those cases where Geno Smith is just going to be that quarterback until they finally find that one of the future. All right, so here we go. Williams get him down on the ground, but they're going to call, I believe, a face mask penalty right there. So that's going to be automatic first down. Like I said, self-inflicted wounds by the Cowboys. Seem like they're playing better than the Green Bay Packers right now, but they keep shooting themselves in the foot. You see Williams trying to get Love on the ground. Instead, he grabs him around the face mask. So he gets in there. He gives it a light tug, and they're going to call that every time, man. They barely want you to touch the quarterbacks at all. So if you grab their face mask, they might make that a 30-yard penalty. Said they can't let it go. I mean, because it worked, hello. Like, the people, it's hard to. All right, so we see the penalties, the face mask on Jordan Love by Williams. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to let it go, but at the same time, you can't recreate that. You can't recreate those moments, right? You just can't, as much as you want to. Speaking of Cowboys, man, shouts out to my little man Paxton, who played flag football. He actually plays for the Cowboys, man. My little man, he got his they got a victory over the weekend. They beat the Jets by a score of 22-0, man. My little man was out there running that football, and credit to his team, man. They did a really good job, man. Those kids, man, that's like I'm gonna be honest, that's like the highlight of my entire weekend, man. I'm actually one of the coaches on my son's team, and we have a good time out there, man. Just coaching those young kids and seeing how much excitement they have, just being out there playing football. It's just fun, man. So credit to them, man. Got that victory. And got that victory over the weekend, man. So I just want to give my little man, a shout out. All right, so 1st and 10 for the Green Bay Packers. You got Jordan Love under center. You got Dallas playing a little bit of man coverage here. Instead, they hand the ball off to Josh Jacobs, and he gets around the corner, and he gets to the sidelines, and he gets to the 20. He stiff arms a man, and he gets to about the 19-yard line. So a really good run right there by Josh Jacobs. So really good play right there. He was able to make that adjustment. They hand the ball off. And that was a really good run right there by Josh Jacobs. Really good vision. They passed the ball. This is to Williams. Williams tries to get around the corner, and he gets tackled out of bounds. So he gets about 4 yards on the play. Josh Jacobs is an incredibly talented running back. He had really good years with the Raiders. And now, for the last couple of seasons, he's been a really good running back for the Green Bay Packers. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that would have happened? So, yeah, credit to him, man. All right, so 2nd and 6 for the Green Bay Packers. And here's a play action, looking, and he throws it to Tucker Kraft, and Kraft tries to get around the pylon, and they're calling that a touchdown. Tucker Kraft. And now the Green Bay Packers are now out in front. They have a 3-point lead, and a field goal is pending. So right there, what a response by the Green Bay Packers. Not the best play calling to end the first half. Instead, you drive down the field. You see a rollout by Jordan Love. You give it to Tucker Kraft, who has been having a stellar season and becoming a force as a tight end for the Green Bay Packers. All right, so to me, I feel like that's a touchdown. I think that's a touchdown. I mean, there you go. I mean, I don't see that changing. What y'all think? Y'all think that's a touchdown? I don't know. I think that's a touchdown, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's a touchdown. What y'all think? Y'all think it's a touchdown? I do. I think it is a touchdown. Jermaine said yes, it's a touchdown. I think it's a touchdown. I don't think there's anything that can change that. I mean, he fell to the ground at the same time. He launched the ball right across the pylon. He barely got it, but I think it was good enough for a touchdown. Yeah, I think it's good enough for a touchdown. And the crazy thing about it is, I mean, Tucker Kraft, I want to say maybe it was like a 4th-round pick. And Luke Musgrave was supposed to be that tight end that they were counting on to make plays, but Luke Musgrave very early in his career started having these injuries, and Tucker Kraft was the tight end out there, just constantly out there making plays, and credit to Matt LaFleur making that adjustment. And he didn't try to, oh man, Luke Musgraves, this was our guy. He was one of our top picks, so we're gonna roll with him. No, there's like, okay, Tucker Kraft seems like he's coming alive. Seems like he's out there making plays. Let's try to set up a game plan for him. So Luke Musgraves, to be honest, has become an afterthought. My son played offensive line in high school. I pay he $20 for every pancake. Oh, you pay him $20 for every pancake. Okay. Well, I mean, that's an incentive right there. My son, Paxton, I mean, I just be wanting him to play hard, and that's all that matters to me, man. I mean, he's a smart kid. He's a talented kid. I think that, I just try to stay with him, man. He's starting to like football now. Starting to like football. We go to the local high school football games together. He loves going out there. We don't know any of the kids, but he just loves the environment. And this is him, on a play. That's him at center right there. He snaps the ball off and goes around. And yeah, man, we just little stuff like that, man. I just want to see my little man just get better, right? Just want to see him get better, and that's all that matters to me. I'm always gonna be proud of him. But just watching him play and watching other kids play and him having such a good time. So okay, so they're saying he's short. Okay, they're saying he's short. So all right, so yeah, that's really good. That's really good camera work right there. So they said he was a yard short. So here we go. Here come the flag. Got a false start. So now they're moving backwards. Third game, I'm down $80. Well, I mean, look, I'm pretty sure that's money that you would love to pay, because if he end up being like a really good player, he'll be able to give you the $80 back and then some, or just be able to take care of himself. That's all that matters as a parent. Like, all you want to see is your kids do well and live up to their potential. And you just want them to be the best version of themselves, man. And if they can do that, then you're like, dang, I ended up being a pretty decent parent. But I just love like hanging out with my son and being in the backyard with him and teaching him how to play the game of football. All right, Josh Jacobs barreling forward, fighting for extra yards. He's pushing some more. He's under the pile, but I mean, it's going to bring up second down. My daughter plays basketball, volleyball, softball, and now she wants to play flag football. Yeah, man. I mean, flag football is becoming a really popular sport. It's for high schools, women's and girls sports. It's becoming really popular, even in men's sports too. Everybody not trying to go out there trying to get their head knocked off. Yeah, you can still go out there and play football and have a good time, without having to do that. I enjoy playing flag football. Matter of fact, I actually signed up for an adult flag football league this season, man. So just a way for me to kind of just stay in shape. And you got a couple like the dads and stuff like that I became friends with. Just our sons playing on the same team. So, nothing wrong with that. Let's see. But looking at the game, it's still goal to goal. You got Josh Jacobs trying to tap dance, and really good credit right there to the Dallas Cowboys. So this is going to set up third and goal. And you have in motion, they hand it off to Josh Jacobs again. And I mean, he just basically walks into the end zone untouched. So all they did was prolong the inevitable. Josh Jacobs and the Green Bay Packers out in front. So Josh Jacobs out there making plays, doing what he needs to do in order to help his team get this victory, get this dub at AT&T Stadium. All right, so anyway, let's see. Try to make sure I ain't miss anybody. Shuck is a year older than Rattler. Yeah, that's pretty insane, right? And they were born on the exact same day. They're both of their birthdays were today. I think I already read that, Josh. I think I read quite a few of these. Like I said, if you want to interact with the, and be a part of the show, doesn't matter what team you're talking about. You can be talking about this game. You can be talking about some of the things that you actually seen from your favorite team. Feel free to put the comments inside of the chat here on the State of NFL live watch along. Dallas Cowboys versus Green Bay Packers. Like I said, I mean, looking at these draft picks, as of right now, I mean, it's very early, way early in the season. But here are the top 10 draft pick, or not draft picks, but top 10 teams if the draft were to be today. The number 1 overall pick will belong to the New Orleans Saints. Tennessee Titans would be at number 2, Jets at 3, Miami at 4, Cleveland at 5, Las Vegas at 6, Carolina at 7, Baltimore at 8, the Giants at 9, and the Houston Texans at 10. So if you're a Saints fan, a Tennessee Titans fan, or a Jets fan, you're picking in the top 3, ladies and gentlemen, if the season was to end today. But of course, we are far from this season being over. We know that these standards are going to change. Teams have to figure things out. Sometimes these teams go on winning streaks. Sometimes these teams just continue to lose, and it pretty much solidifies their position. So injuries happen to key players. And, next thing you know, these teams are probably picking in positions they probably wouldn't have been picking if an injury didn't happen to a key player. So Dak Prescott trying to stretch it out, trying to stay loose. Been playing pretty well tonight. Dak Prescott can put up the numbers. It's that turnover at the inopportune time that's been something that has plagued Dak Prescott throughout his career. 11 of 15, 113 yards, and 2 touchdowns. All right, so he has 2 total touchdowns in the game. 1 rushing touchdown, 1 passing touchdown. So Dak Prescott's fingerprints are all over this game. Question is, can he lead his team to victory? Can he eliminate that crucial mistake? As we see Tolbert in motion, he goes from left to right. Dak Prescott under center looking. Instead, he checks the ball down to Jake Ferguson, who doesn't get back to the line of scrimmage. And if he does, that's all he's going to get. And Jake Ferguson, has not really been a factor here tonight. It's caught some passes, but you would think that, a guy as talented as Ferguson is, you'll try to send him vertical. But instead, they have him as a check down. It seems like Dak Prescott wanted to throw a little bit of a fade route. He didn't see it there. So instead, he checked it down to Jake Ferguson. So 2nd and 10, we see Williams in motion, Javonte Williams in motion, Dak in the gun. Here's the snap. Dak looking. And he throws it, and that pass is caught. And that is to, I want to make sure I see what that is. That is Tolbert, Jalen Tolbert. So that's going to bring up 3rd down. 3rd down. Cowboys haven't beat the Packers in Cowboy Stadium since 2007. I can't remember the last time the Cowboys beat the Packers. I'm being honest. Like, it always seemed like some type of weird situation. Rather it's a game-winning field goal or just a straight beatdown. All right, but anyway, 3rd and 6 for the boys here. Dak Prescott calling out the protections. Here it comes. Here comes the pressure. All up in his face, all up in his grill. Instead, he passes the ball, and that pass is complete to Kevontae Turpin with the toe drag, swag for the 1st down. So that was crucial, and that's what you want to do. Just give your wide receiver an opportunity to make a play. Can your wide receiver come down with the football? And you can see the pellets come up off the turf, and that's always an indicator of the toe drag swag. Javonte Williams up the middle, gets past the line of scrimmage, gets about 2 or 3 yards on the play. So it's going to bring up 2nd down. So the Dallas Cowboys trying to put it all on the line to come away victorious tonight. I mean, really good catch. I mean, homie need to tie his shoe, but you catch a pass like that, you might want to leave him untied. I'm superstitious like that. 2nd and 6. Dak Prescott in the gun. Delayed handoff. This time he give it off to Turpin. Turpin tries to get around the middle, and he is caught from behind. And man, if that defender did not bring him down, if that defensive lineman did not bring him down, I believe that was Stackhouse. If he didn't bring him down, man, Turpin probably would have still been running. All right, so and this is a big-time opportunity for KaVontae Turpin. As we know, CeeDee Lamb is out. He's one of those receivers that the Cowboys are relying on. He's a down-the-field threat, and he can make things happen on special teams. Williams trying to get around the side, and he gets up the field, and he gets close to the first down. He probably gets about 8 yards on the play. All right, so it's going to be a gain of 9. Gain of 9 on the play from Javonte Williams, who's been running hard throughout the night. Let me go ahead and put his stat line up. All right, so let's take a look at Williams' stat line. 11 carries for 43 yards, 3.9 average. Not really, it's not really showing on the stat sheet, but he's running pretty hard tonight. 2nd and 1 for the boys. And here's a play action by Dak. Dak looking. He throws it, and that pass is indeed caught. And that's, if I'm not mistaken, that's Flanoy on the play. So he gets his 2nd reception of the night, taking advantage of the opportunities. Ryan Flanoy, the 6th-round draft pick out of southeastern Missouri. So 6'1", 200 pounds, playing in the game in the absence of CeeDee Lamb, who was on the sidelines dealing with an ankle injury. Seeing him with the walking boot on, of course. And Dak Prescott has been red hot, man. He has been making some really good throws. All right, so here we go. Flanoy going around, end around. Flanoy getting up the field, and he gets enough for a first down. So really good play right there by the Cowboys. That was a really good time to call it. And some of these motion plays, I like that play right there also, man. You got the eyes looking as Williams is going in the opposite direction. You have Flanoy going around the other side. I mean, that is a really good play right there. That is a really good football play. And here we go. Dak Prescott with the fade and almost comes down with it. I mean, George Pickens, if he would have came down with that, my goodness. And he's talking noise. And you have KaVontae Turpin. And I'm pretty sure Dak Prescott is going to be kicking himself when he sees that on film. But he already made up in his mind he wanted to go to George Pickens on that play. And KaVontae Turpin was wide open. Man, he's going to be kicking himself when he see that on tape. All right, so here we go. Dak Prescott looking. And that pass is caught by Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson fighting. And he gets close to the first down. And they're going to say that, let's just see if he's close. I want to say maybe a yard short. All right, so Micah Parsons dealing with that back injury. And you can tell he wants this game, man. He wants to be the reason why the Dallas Cowboys lose here tonight. But here we go. Here's a handoff, but no, hold the phone. There's a flag on the play. So the play stops. All indications is a false start. All right, so Luke Shoemaker was called for a false start. So Luke Shoemaker, probably, I want to say in his 3rd season out of the University of Michigan, was a guy that a lot of people felt that maybe, just maybe, he would have been a much better player than what he is. But, he's more of that blocking tight end. Jake Ferguson is more of the pass catching one. All right, so here we go. 1st and 15 for the Cowboys. Dak in a gun. He snaps it, gives the ball off to Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams gets low, gets around, and we see a helmet fly off. But Javonte Williams is able to get up the field and gets really close to the first down, man. So they get they get those yardage back and a little bit more. So really good blocking up ahead, and also good effort by Javonte Williams, getting low, good pad level, making guys miss, good ball security. All right, so here we go. 2nd and 6 for the Dallas Cowboys. You got Dak Prescott in the gun. Javonte Williams in the backfield with him. Jake Ferguson moves over. He's looking, and that's a quick pass to Jake Ferguson, and he's in for the touchdown. Jake Ferguson gets the Cowboys the lead 22-20, and this game has been exciting. Both offenses have come to play and have come alive in the second half. So really good play right there by Jake Ferguson. Me personally, I'm wondering to myself, like, he was going to probably make that cut. You got to be a little bit more physical right there if you're the corner, but really good play by Jake Ferguson, using his body to box out the defender, and he gets the touchdown. So Brandon Aubrey in the game to put the Cowboys up by 3. Snap, placement, kick on the way, and it is good. So Brandon Aubrey now has put the Cowboys up by 3. And Dak Prescott is balling tonight. Dak Prescott is red hot right now, pushing the ball down the field, making very few mistakes. He is 19 of 24, 173 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Jordan Love isn't doing too shabby himself, 18 of 23 for 212 yards and 2 touchdowns. Both quarterbacks are putting forth their best effort, and they're going to say, man, it's not my fault if we lose tonight. TJ, how are the boys defending Micah? Are they chipping him, or are they running plays away from him? I think it's a little bit of both. I think they're running plays away from him, but you also got to take into account, this team drafted him. Like, they have tried to neutralize him in practice many a time. So, it's not like, you don't know what he's capable of. But I think that they're running plays away from his side. And, you're also seeing, guys taking him out of the play. I don't really see too much, anything special that they're doing. My youngest only wants to play Fortnite. My son hasn't reached that level yet, but he's like enamored with his tablet. Like, but the tablet is more of the weekend thing. We don't like let him use the tablet during the week, but he loves his tablet. And, he'll play video games. Like, of course, I got an Xbox. He'll probably play video games, but he's not like, Dad, let's play the video game. He isn't at that point yet. But I think, like, how, like, as kids get older, they start going to school and they start to see what kids are into, and they starting to want to get into it too, because, they want to be able to play with their friends. So stuff like that. TJ, how you feel about the NFC? How do I feel about the NFC? I think you got some teams that are very talented, like the Rams and the Eagles, 49ers, even though they lost today. You got some talented players and also talented teams in the NFC. I got to put Detroit in there too. It seemed like they're finding their footing. So I think that it's going to be interesting, man. I think that in the NFC West, you're probably going to have 3 teams make the postseason. I think all 3, I think the Rams, the 49ers, and the Seahawks, all are really good teams. And, even though they're probably going to, pretty much get one win apiece against each other, I think they're probably going to dominate for the most part the NFC opponents, because they're that good. So, I think that the Rams, Seahawks, and the 49ers probably going to end up being in the postseason, unless something catastrophic happens with the 49ers or the Seahawks or the Rams. All right, so here's the return. All right, so he gets around the side. I believe let me make sure I read his jersey correctly. I couldn't see it, but nice, decent return right there. And hopefully, they can set up the Green Bay Packers to try to push the ball down the field. Bo Melton is his name, the returner. So I want to make sure I get his name correctly. So Bo Melton returned there, decent return, and really good drive last time out by the offense of the Green Bay Packers, as they are trying to cut. Well, they're trying to take the lead here. They're down 23-20. And here's a toss play to Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs gets around the corner, makes someone miss, and gets about 2 or 3 yards on the play. So as the clock ticks down, I'm pretty sure that's maybe the last play of the third quarter. So they're going to let the clock tick all the way down and, take this ball to the fourth quarter where they're down 3. TJ, which college head coach is most overrated? Brian Kelly or James Franklin? Brian Kelly. Brian freaking Kelly. Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly is the most overrated football coach in college football. I have never been a Brian Kelly fan like that. Like, Brian Kelly was the same way when he was at Notre Dame. I know y'all remember when, like, Notre Dame, I want to say, who did they play against? Notre Dame played in the national championship. I want to say they played against Alabama, and they got their ass whooped. I mean, that game wasn't even close. Like, they got absolutely destroyed. And, it was just after that, I'm like, man, this dude has never, like, won a big-time game, like, against a top 10 performer, a top 10 team, a team, that everything on the line. Like, he just always seems to have his teams unprepared. Like, I look at him. He's like the Doc Rivers of college football. Doc Rivers wins a lot of regular season basketball games, but when he get into that postseason, garbage. Marvin Lewis, that's another guy who I compared him to. I compared him to Marvin Lewis on social media. Marvin Lewis, when it's time for him to play a game that matters, chokes. Brian Kelly is the most overrated head coach in college football. I mean, I don't care if this man out here with the 85 Bears defense, I don't care what he has going out there. He always seems to find a way to get the worst out of his players in the most inopportune times. James Franklin, I wouldn't call him overrated. I just think that he just had, like, bad luck. Like, he just had, like, bad luck. Like, when it comes to LSU or Notre Dame or, some of these other colleges he's been to, in crucial situations, his team always looks soft and unprepared. At least Penn State don't be looking soft. Like, they'll just lose by a field goal. They'll lose, if something just crazy just happens. Like, but Brian Kelly, I mean, his teams be getting out physical. Like, they be looking soft. That's a reflection of the coach, man. That's a reflection of the coach. Dallas choke coming, LOL. I could have answered that. Yeah, Brian Kelly. Yeah, that ain't it, man. That ain't it. They got Big Tex out there. That means that the Texas State Fairs is just around the corner, if not already happening. I used to enjoy that. I used to stay in Dallas. Stayed there like 5 years. Used to enjoy going to the Texas State Fair. I can remember when the original Big Tex burned down. They had they had Big Tex out there. Big Tex burned up, man. They had to make a new Big Tex. But, I mean, they had the same Big Tex out there. That man was like 50 years old out there. So he had that old wiring and stuff like that. And it was crazy because he caught on fire. And it was, you could see like his face just smoldering. I'm like, why? And they just letting it burn. Like, they didn't even have the fire department out there. They just kept everybody away from it and just said, okay, let it burn. Rest in peace to the original Big Tex. Jordan Love, sneaking forward, getting yards, getting up the field, getting around, slides for the first down, but hold the phone. Got yourself a flag on the play. Let's see what this is all about. Let's see what this is about. Now, I'm pretty sure. Oh, holding on a defense. So not only did he get the big run, but he's able to get 5 extra yards. All right, so let's see what we got. We got the hands out. Oh man, that is a no-go. That is a no-go, and you got yourself grabbing. So not only did he push him, I mean, I can understand why, because he was about to give up a big play. I agree. I like Rams, 49ers, Seahawks a lot. Yeah, I think that, you're probably going to have those three teams make the postseason. All right, so Golden in motion. Seen this play before. All right, so looking, throws it off his back foot. Man, who was in him? That might be intentional grounding. Was he out the? Okay, I'm about to say, like, who was he throwing to? And he wasn't out of the pocket, so I'm just wondering. Are they gonna call it intentional grounding? Yeah, I mean, I was saying like he was still in the pocket. So he all right, so he gets around. Yeah, so they're not gonna call that. Very close though. I feel like that should have been intentional grounding. All right, so anyway, Jordan Love in a gun, he passes. That pass is complete, and that is to Tucker Kraft. So that's gonna bring up third down, and we're at the 13-minute mark in the fourth quarter, and it's going to be a 3rd and 3 for the Green Bay Packers, who are down 3 versus the Dallas Cowboys. So Packers offense on third down through week 3, 48% tonight, 6 of 8. So really, really good performance tonight on third down. And if you can stay ahead of the chains and convert on third downs, you can be one of the most efficient teams in the league, and you're going to win a lot of football games. Jordan Love hands the ball off, and he barrels forward, and he gets enough for a first down. So Wilson gets a little help from his friends. It seemed like he was going to get stopped, but the offensive line is able to push the big man forward to be able to get the first down. So credit to Wilson using those legs, and credit to his offensive line brethren, their fellow teammates pushing them down the field. All right, so anyway, 1st and 10, new set of downs for the Green Bay Packers. Once again, down 23-20. You got Tucker Kraft in motion, Jordan Love in a gun. Here's the snap. They hand it off to Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is able to get up the field. I thought that he may have lost a yard, but instead he was able to find just a little bit of a crease to be able to get about 2 yards on the play. So that's going to bring up 2nd down. Dallas Cowboys defense trying to get a stop, trying to force them to a field goal to tie the game instead of giving up a touchdown where the Green Bay Packers can take the lead. All right, so here we go on a 2nd and 7. And here's the handoff. This is to Josh Jacobs again. He gets around the side. He gets to the 10, to the 5. Josh Jacobs. Touchdown. Josh Jacobs just put those defenders in a blender, and he gets his 2nd touchdown of the night. Really good offensive line play right here. So really good play right there. You got Luke Musgraves with a really good block, which sets up Josh Jacobs to be able to go out to the right and the rest is history. I mean, he was out there in the open. When this man gets a full head of steam, he shows that elusivity, the power, and he's able to get into the end zone. So a back and forth they go. This time the Green Bay Packers are able to get on the board. Can the Dallas Cowboys respond? It has been a heavyweight fight tonight. Big blow after big blow. Pause. Josh Jacobs quieting the crowd as the Green Bay Packers go up 27-23. Who you like Monday night, TJ? That's a good question. And that's a question for everybody here. For those 154 people watching this, we got a decision we need to make, ladies and gentlemen. We got a decision we need to make. All right. So Monday Night Football consists of 2 games. Okay. There is the New York Jets versus the Miami Dolphins, or the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Denver Broncos. Which game should we do a live watch along? Once again, Jets, Dolphins, Bengals, Broncos. Which game should we go live? All right. Which game should be the live stream watch along for Monday Night Football? I'll leave it up to the chat. When LSU got him, I was like, that a waste of money. Yeah, I ain't understand it either. Said Bengals, Broncos, Bengals. Okay, so Candyman says Bengals. Black Tool said Broncos, Sean Payton. Well, I think that what we're going to do is, man, we'll do a little channel surfing, but that will be, that'll probably be the main game that we actually watch, all right? But we'll keep an eye. We'll keep an eye on the Jets Dolphins game. I mean, that doesn't really seem that exciting. It seems like they got the Miami Dolphins on Monday Night Football to see if the team going to implode and so they can have something to write about. But yeah, it's probably more than likely going to be the Broncos if the votes continue. Okay, so I see quite a few Broncos, Bengals, so it's probably going to be the direction that we go in. But I believe I don't know if they're actually starting at the same time. So because the Jets Dolphins game is first, seems like it starts an hour early, and then you have the Denver Broncos and the Cincinnati Bengals. They start at 8:15 Eastern. The Jets game start at 7:15 Eastern. So we'll get opportunity to watch maybe the first quarter of the Jets Dolphins game, and then we'll transition over. So it's going to be a watch along, and we'll just keep an eye on that Jets game. But we'll start off the watch along with it, and if not, then, more than likely we'll probably just start at 8:15, but I'll keep you posted. Yes, Rattler is 0-10, but if a fifth round pick, Rattler beats out round pick Tyler Shuck, what does that tell you? I believe Rat has the potential to be the franchise. Man, he's trying really hard, man. I think the only thing that you can say about, Spencer Rattler, and this is why, I think that fans need to not get discouraged, is because he can actually get better as a passer. Like, he can get better. Like, I know there's several quarterbacks that have been talented guys who have struggled with accuracy, and they have improved it. I'm not saying they're about to go out here and just become the marksman of marksmen, but they're good enough to be able to make some key throws in games. So, to me, yeah. And today, I think, it's saying that Rattler 0-10. I mean, who didn't know that Rattler was about to go 0-10 after you seen the Buffalo Bills on the schedule? Let's see, R.J. Harvey. Yeah, I like R.J. Harvey, man. Rookie out of Central Florida. Really good, talented running back right there. He's a guy that can give you a lot. He can give you a lot. All right, so we look at the Dallas Cowboys on the field, down 27-23. Both offenses are able to move the ball effectively. Both defenses have been teetering. All right, so here we go. 3rd and 3 for the Dallas Cowboys. You got Dak Prescott in a gun, Jake Ferguson in motion, Javonte Williams in the backfield, Dak looking, and he's able to get Kevontae Turpin. He has enough for the first down. All right, so move those chains for the Dallas Cowboys. Said TJ Red Zone. I can't be Red Zone. That would be pretty cool. Like, that is something that I plan on doing once the New Orleans Saints take their bye week, having like a Red Zone episode where we just basically just kind of do the Red Zone thing. But it's just so hard for me to do that. Kevontae Turpin on the end around tries to get around the corner, gets past the line of scrimmage, gets about 3 or 4 yards on the play. But like I was saying, it's just so hard when I'm doing live streams and having to watch the Saints game in order for me to provide context on the Bleacher Report and also the post game on the state of the Saints. So, I got to wait for bye weeks and opportunities to be able to do that. Was it me? But did the secondary look a little better when Quincy Riley took it? Nah, it definitely not just you. And I hope that they continue to do that. Like, the young man is probably going to go through some growing pains, but I'm willing to accept it. Versus a guy who has been in the league for I don't know how long and can't cover with a bed sheet. So, all right. So we see Hobbs walking to the sidelines. Look like he got a little shaken up on the play. So this is 2nd and 6 for the Dallas Cowboys. And Valentine is in the game now. Valentine, very capable cornerback, has made some plays throughout his career. All right, so here we go. 2nd and 6 for the Cowboys. Dak under center. And he gives a quick pass off to Jalen Tolbert, but he gets wrestled down immediately by Nixon. And Nixon slowly emerging as that number one corner for the Green Bay Packers. I think right now you would have to say he is their number one corner. All right, so the Cowboys offense on 3rd downs, not ideal, 2 of 6. Definitely want to be a little bit over 50% or close to it, flirting with it at least. So 3rd and 2, and you have to believe that maybe this is going to be 4-down territory regardless. All right, so the Dallas Cowboys on a 3rd and 2. They send the fullback in motion. He goes back, and he's able to get down the field. Dak Prescott, and it gets knocked away. And, man, wait a minute. Micah Parsons was almost there. He almost forced a fumble on Dak Prescott. I mean, he was inches away. All right, so he gets around the corner, beats Tyler Guyton, and almost got there, man, but he just collided into a defender. He almost got there. About to come around that corner and take the ball away. So here we go, 4th and 2 for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, he basically just beat Tyler Guyton on that play. So we see a chip, double covered, and that pass is complete. And that's to George Pickens again. And George Pickens is having a night. Just continues to make play after play for the Dallas Cowboys, and he keeps the drive alive. So you see, somebody was asking earlier about what are they doing. You got a double team. So you had Tyler Guyton and Javonte Williams double teaming Micah Parsons, and he just couldn't get to Dak Prescott. So got some double. You guys got him being doubled most of the time. So there's a handoff to Javonte Williams. He cuts back out. He spins, and he's still fighting, but he's pushed back. So that's going to be 2nd down. Man, this has been an exciting game so far. Both teams, you can tell they want this. Both coming off embarrassing losses. I mean, you look at the Green Bay Packers, they lost to the Cleveland Browns. And the Dallas Cowboys got embarrassed by the Chicago Bears. All right, so Dak Prescott, 2nd and 5, trying to get his team into the end zone again tonight, under center. And a play action. Dak looking, throws the ball down the field, and he overthrows Jalen Tolbert. So he had him. He had him right there, but he just sailed the ball over his head. I mean, you got yourself a little mesh concept right there where you have Tolbert just drag across the field, and Dak had him, man. I mean, you put that ball just a little bit lower, you got Tolbert in stride. They're probably going to lead him out of bounds, but still going to be a big play. So 3rd and 5 for the Dallas Cowboys, trying to convert yet again. All right, Dak Prescott trying to make the adjustments. In the gun, snap, looking some more. Dak Prescott trying to get around, flushes out. There's a flag on a play, and he gets it off to Ferguson, but I think this is going to be a holding penalty. It's going to be holding on the Dallas Cowboys, but let's see. And this is a big flag, man, especially like if we get closer to the end of this game. And we got a face mask on the defense. So, all right, so we got 2 face mask penalties on the Green Bay Packers, so that's going to be automatic 1st down. Yeah, I mean, And Dak is like, man, he grabbed my face mask. So he's actually saying that at the same time as he's trying to throw the ball down the field. And he's telling the referees, hey, man, he pulled my face mask. And Brooks is like, man, he's absolutely beside himself right now, very upset, understands the magnitude of that penalty. It sets up an automatic first down, and it keeps the drive alive for the Dallas Cowboys as we are about 6 minutes. We got 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Here's the handoff. This is Javonte Williams, and once again, he's running hard, and he gets up to about the, say about close to the 20-yard line there. So Javonte Williams, like I said, is not reflective on the stat sheet when it comes to the yards per carry, the yards, that he has, but he is running really hard, and he's getting those yards that matter. All right, so here we go. Receiver in motion here. All right, so Dak Prescott, you can hear him saying kill, kill. All right, so here we go. Here's a handoff to Javonte Williams, and Javonte Williams gets around the corner, and he barrels forward. And he gets inside the 5-yard line. So Javonte Williams, a couple Alabama Crimson Tide players out here balling the heck out at the running back position. All right, so here's the handoff, Javonte Williams. I mean, really good creases. You got Tolbert blocking up the field, and if you're Williams, you might be kicking yourself after you watch this footage, because if you would have cut to the outside instead of the inside, you probably would have scored, because Tolbert had a really good block on the cornerback. All right, so here we go. In motion, Javonte Williams up the middle, gets close. I don't think he got it, so he's probably a yard short of the goal line. So the clock continues to tick. Ball is at the 1. Brian Schottenheimer trying to call his best plays, but there's so many different ways that you can approach this. I mean, you can sneak this ball in with Dak Prescott. You can maybe run the football here again with Javonte Williams, maybe try to, give him an incentive of getting the team down here. There's so many different ways you can approach this, as long as you don't turn the ball over. So here we go. Williams in a gun, running straight ahead, barrels forward, and he's in for the touchdown on a Wildcat play. And there's a flag on a play. Once again, let's see what that flag is all about. But Javonte Williams running the ball extremely hard tonight, and it's offside on the defense. So that penalty is going to be declined. So that is going to be a touchdown for the Dallas Cowboys. All right, so the Dallas Cowboys jump ahead again. Back and forth. These two teams go. I just wanted to shoot out Javonte Turbin for being from Monroe. Yeah, I mean, look, they got a lot of talented players in this game. And you can tell both of these teams want this football game for obvious reasons if you're the Cowboys. But Green Bay, they just trying to get back on a winning track. But this is a wake-up call for Green Bay. A couple weeks ago, they destroyed the Detroit Lions, and then in week 2, they went back out again and, won in convincing fashion. But then after that, right, you're never as bad as they say you are, and you're never as good as they say you are. So that's why you gotta keep your head, to the plow, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? You got to put your hand to the plow, keep on pushing forward. You got to keep on moving forward. You can't think about what you did before, because when you start thinking about your accolades, when you start thinking about everything that you've done, right, that's when you start to really lose yourself. Got to keep your hand to the plow. You got to keep on going, man. Touchdown. Williams, 17 carries, 72 yards, and a touchdown. Yeah, I mean, he's been running pretty hard tonight. Do you think Cowboys have curse or something? I don't think they have curse. I just think that they got a owner who just stands in the way of prosperity, and I don't think they're going to really achieve true prosperity, unfortunately, until he steps down or he's no longer with us. I mean, I hope that's a long time from now, because I like old Jerry, man. I was watching that Dallas Cowboy documentary on Netflix. his background and, some of the things that he did, and the fact that he almost got in bed with Jimmy Hoffa, I thought was pretty interesting. But, I mean, they're probably not going to win nothing as long as Jerry around, though. But credit to, credit to Jerry Jones, credit to him. He has gotten the Dallas Cowboys in the tabloids, regardless if they're a winning team, if they're a losing team, they're going to be on primetime television, no matter what their record is. And they're going to have some storylines going for him. And he understands that. He understands that he creates this whole soap opera that surrounds his football team. And because of that, it's like people are going to love him. People are going to dislike him. But people are going to continue to talk about him because they generate ratings. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these stats here in this game. Dallas Cowboys versus Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love, 19 of 25, 220 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dak Prescott, 24 of 31, 202 yards and 2 touchdowns. Javonte Williams, 17 carries, 72 yards and a touchdown. Josh Jacobs, 17 carries, 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, both of these running backs are running well and really good complementary football by both teams, being able to have a good balance of run and pass, right? I mean, keeping that attack balance is key. Jerry is never going to step down. There's going to have the new owner when he passes away. Even I never wish that on anyone. Well, I think his kids inherit the team. His daughter Charlotte, his son Steven, Jerry Jones Jr. They're gonna inherit his team, I'm sure, but I mean, they ain't going to inherit it, as long as he's alive. I just looked and said the quarterbacks having good nights. Yeah, they are having a really good night. Both quarterbacks came to play, and that's all you can ask for your quarterbacks to put your team in a position to succeed. And, I like to see this game by Dak Prescott. I think that Dak Prescott is because he's the Cowboys quarterback. Like, people give him a hard time, but I think if Dak Prescott was, like, playing for another team, I think a lot of people would give him more respect than they give him. It's like he developed this reputation because, once again, the Cowboys are a soap opera football team. So, he's the guy. Okay, he put up 350 yards, but what happened? If Dak Prescott was putting up these type of numbers that he putting up on a team that probably wasn't as polarizing as the Cowboys, like, he'll be cheered and revered and loved. It wouldn't even matter, right? It's just the fact you play for the Cowboys, where all of a sudden, like, you're basically, I guess, evaluated by Super Bowls, like they win them every year or something, which I don't understand. Yeah, I don't get it, right? But I just think if he played for another team, he'll probably get a little bit more respect than what he gets as the Cowboys quarterback. But I like Dak Prescott. Like, if Dak Prescott was a free agent, let's just say if the New Orleans Saints are a team that I rock with, if they needed a quarterback, like, I wouldn't mind the Saints signing Dak Prescott. Actually, I think Dak Prescott is a good quarterback, a really good quarterback. But like I said, when you play for the Cowboys, like, they evaluate you based on Super Bowls, even though, like I said, they haven't won a Super Bowl since Will Smith stood in the living room on the final episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So I don't know how they get held to that type of standard. I ain't hating. That's just a fact. Once again, let's take a look at some of these stats. Look at the wide receiver position. George Pickens having a really good night. 5 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. Jake Ferguson, 6 catches for 33 yards and a touchdown. Kevontae Turpin, 3 catches for 30 yards. You got Miles Sanders, who left the game dealing with that ankle injury. He has 2 catches for 2 catches for 17 yards. Then on the Green Bay side, Tucker Kraft leads receivers, 5 catches for 56. Matthew Golden, 3 catches for 47. Josh Jacobs, 3 catches for 46. Emmanuel Wilson, one catch for 25 yards. Savion Williams, 3 catches for 22. And Romeo Doubs, 3 catches for 19 yards and 2 touchdowns. So every time Romeo Doubs makes a play, it ends up being a touchdown for the most part. So like I said, really good night by both quarterbacks. Both came to play, both really rising to the occasion. And, it's going to come down to the final few minutes of this game. Can the defense of the Dallas Cowboys make a stop, generate a turnover? We'll see. 4:50 left in the fourth quarter, 30-27. Packers down by 3. Kraft in motion, and here's a play action. Looking. He gets flushed out of pocket. He gives it off to Savion Williams, and Savion Williams takes the defender on a ride, and he's able to get back to the line of scrimmage. And that's basically it. All right, so Josh Jacobs dealing with an injury, and that's something that you don't want to see, especially the way he's running tonight. So he has 116 total yards and 2 touchdowns. So you definitely need him down the stretch here. Wicks in motion. All right, and here's the handoff to Josh Jacobs. He tries to get around the side, and that was really good pursuit right there by the defensive line of the Cowboys. And you have Kenny Clark. A lot of people aren't talking about him, but he is a former Green Bay Packer who was a part of that trade that sent Micah Parsons to the Packers. So Kenny Clark fighting and able to get there. And I feel bad because Kenny Clark is just as meaningful and was meaningful to the Green Bay Packers as Michael Parsons was to the Cowboys, but nobody seems to be talking about him at all, which is unfortunate because he's a really good interior lineman. 3rd and 8 for Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. In the gun, snap, looking, throws the ball, and that pass is caught. Romeo getting the ball. Really good pass and catch right there, putting it up high for Romeo Doubs, 6'2", 6'3", wide receiver, able to get his hands up in the air, going up against Ryan Bland. And that was just a really good route right there. You got yourself a little hitch route, and Jordan Love just puts the ball up in the air, puts it up high enough. Romeo Doubs catches the ball at his highest point and just gets up the field, and Wilson takes him down by the neck. All right, so Kenneth Murray, the former Oklahoma Sooner, is injured, so they're going to be looking at him. Dak not tripping, he'll be good the rest of his life because he played for the Star. UC Dez Bryant never left Dallas. They love they played for the Star. Look, man, I like Dallas. Like, Dallas is a good place to live. There is a good place to live, man. Always got something to do. I don't like that traffic, but there's always something to do in Dallas. Dallas is a good place where there's always something to do. Good place to raise your family, like especially on like the outskirts. So I can understand why they don't leave. I mean, most players stay in like that Dallas area on the outskirts. Like even for those players that don't even play for the Cowboys. Texas is a huge state, but Dallas, like you have Dallas, then you got like those other outskirt areas like Addison, Texas, Carrollton, Texas, Louisville, like you can Frisco, Irvin, like people stay on the outskirts, man, of those places. So Parsons, 2 assisted tackles, not a good night for him. Well, he's been double teamed most of the night, and he's gotten close, but he just hasn't gotten a sack yet. But I tell you what, if he end up getting a sack, if he end up getting a sack to seal his game, boy, they ain't gonna hear the end of it. I think I might tune in to Dallas Cowboy radio tonight, be able to hear what the heck going on, because I know they're gonna be hot. All right, but yeah, I mean, it's a good place to live. I don't think they will want to leave. And then I want to say Dez is from Texas, if I'm not mistaken. So not too far from where he stayed, where he's from, I should say. All right, but we're gonna see how this game is going to unfold. I mean, it should be a photo finish. Both teams seem like they came to play. All right, so Kenneth Murray. Let's see what happened here. And Oh, okay, so he got his ankle stepped on there. It's never a good thing. 1st and 10 for the Green Bay Packers, and he gets around the corner and he just throws the ball at the feet. I don't know if there was Josh Jacobs out there. He just threw the ball at the feet because, the defender was coming around the corner. I guess he sensed the pressure there. All right, so I believe that's a look at James Houston there. And James Houston, I mean, he's a talented guy, but he's one of those players, man. He's always dealing with injuries. And it's hard to make the club in the tub, and it's hard to be an impactful player when you're always dealing with an injury. Teams aren't going to wait for you to heal all the time. All right, so Jordan Love looking, get flushed out of pocket, completes the pass off. That's to Emmanuel Wilson. Emmanuel Wilson doing his thing, and he jukes a couple of defenders, and he gets enough for a first down. So the clock continues to tick. Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers convert, and the Dallas Cowboys now are on their heels. So Jordan Love, 22 of 29, 253 yards and 2 touchdowns in the game. And the Dallas Cowboys are trying to figure out how are they going to get this ball back to their offense. And if you're the Green Bay Packers, you're looking to go into the end zone for a touchdown or try to kick a field goal to tie this game. And here's a run by Emmanuel Wilson again, and he's able to get a few yards on the play. So he's taking advantage of the opportunities. We heard that Josh Jacobs dealing with a leg injury, had a cut that they were trying to work on. So maybe that's affecting him not being in the game right now. All right, so here we go. You definitely want Josh Jacobs out there, but in the meantime, Emmanuel Wilson running pretty hard in his own right. All right, so Jordan Love under center on a 2nd and 6. You got Matthew Golden in motion, and here's the play action. And he gets flushed out of the pocket. And that pass is incomplete, but another flag. I mean, what in the world are you doing? What in the world are you doing? The play is over. I mean, I just don't understand this, man. I don't understand. I don't understand what Lufu is actually doing. I just don't understand like what he's doing. Like he kind of like he made a big play on Matthew Golden. He was the guy who basically just completely like just destroyed him on that special teams play. But every now and then, man, this guy just always seems to be a little bit undisciplined. Man, you can't be selfish like that. You got to be able to keep yourself composed. Like the play was over. It was clear that Williams wasn't going to catch the ball, but instead you want to show how tough you are. Josh Jacobs getting up the field, fighting for extra yards, still pushing, pulling a pile forward, and he gets past the 20-yard line to about the 17. And this is going to be the 2-minute warning. So once again, a photo finish is expected between both of these teams, Dallas Cowboys, Green Bay Packers, who is going to come away victorious on Sunday Night Football. Right here on the State of the NFL podcast. My name is TJ Jones. Once again, I hope that you subscribe to the State of the NFL podcast channel. Have a good time over here. We go live we go live during all primetime games, Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football. You can join in on the fun, talk football, have a good time, and enjoy me try to do commentary. TJ, you're a dog at the play-by-play, bro. I appreciate that, man. Look, we try to do our best over here. Try to keep you entertained. All right. See me do my famous Pat Summerall impression. But yeah, I mean, this is going to come down to the wire. I mean, neither defense has been able to stop the opposing team's offense. So, you anticipate, unless, there's a fumble or, a missed opportunity by Green Bay, that they're going to cash in with a touchdown. And if you're the Cowboys, you're hoping that if that does happen, you have enough time on the clock to be able to go down the field and maybe score a touchdown in your own right. So, Micah Parsons tonight, his stat line does not reflect, the presence that he had. He only has 2 tackles tonight in the game, but he has almost gotten home on the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, Dak Prescott. A couple guys that have been extremely active. Quay Walker, 10 tackles. Evan Williams also had 10 tackles. Nate Hobb with 7. Edrin Cooper with 5. Keyshawn Nixon with 4. Xavier McKinney with 4. Isaiah McDuffie with 3. Nazir Stackhouse with 3. Javon Bullard with 3. Rashawn Gary with 3. Micah Parsons, Carl Brooks, Kobe Wooden all have 2. And then you got Carrington Valentine, Zane Anderson, Devontae Wyatt, and you also have Kingsley, I guess his name, Agnabar. He has 1 tackle. So those are special teams contributors there. Jack Sanborn has 11 tackles in the game. Reedy Stewart with 6 for the Cowboys. You also have Kenneth Murray with 5, Malik Hooker with 4, Shamar James with 4, Ryan Bland with 3. A lot of contributors defensively for the Dallas Cowboys getting active in this game. So 1st and 10 for the Packers. Jordan Love in a gun. He snaps it and he tosses it to Josh Jacobs. And for one of the first times tonight, he gets stopped in a backfield, and a really good stop right there by Stewart. So Stewart is able to get in the backfield, make a play, and that's going to do wonders for his confidence, because he wouldn't even be playing in a game right now if there weren't some injuries that took place. So Reedy Stewart able to get there. He's active. That's, I believe, his 6th tackle of the night. And what a way to get another tackle added to the stat sheet by bringing down a guy who has been extremely physical and been a problem and a nuisance for the Dallas Cowboys this entire night. So 1 minute and 55 seconds left. You got the Dallas Cowboys using their timeout. You got George Pickens on the sidelines hoping he gets an opportunity to maybe go back out there to make another circus catch to win the game this time. All right, so 2nd and 13. You got Emmanuel Wilson in motion. Here's the pass off to Wilson. Wilson tries to get around the corner, and he gets tackled by Trayvon Diggs, takes him on a ride, but he leans forward for about 3 or 4 yards. So this is going to bring up 3rd down. And this is a big-time 3rd down for the Dallas Cowboys. You want to be able to get a stop. You don't want to make any mistakes. You don't want to get a holding penalty. You don't want to get a pass interference call. And if you're the Green Bay Packers, you're trying to call your best 3rd down play. So Trayvon Diggs tried to go a little low, hoping that his helmet would hit the football, and it didn't. All right, so 3rd down. 3rd down for the Green Bay Packers. 3rd and 10 to be exact. Dak Prescott still getting loose, trying to see if the next time he hits the field, will his team be tied, or will he be trying to facilitate a comeback in the last few minutes of the game? Taking a look at Matt Eberflus, former Chicago Bears coach, now defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. Jordan Love in the gun. And here we go. Emmanuel Wilson in the backfield. Tucker Kraft in motion. Looking in the pocket. Throws the ball downfield. Yeah, and it's caught tonight. Romeo. Wherefore art thou, Romeo? I'll tell you where he is, in the end zone for the 3rd time tonight. Romeo Doubs having a night. 3 touchdowns in a game. Unbelievable. Has not had a big night yards-wise. But when his team needs a play, Romeo is in the end zone yet again. So McManus trying to give it a 4-point lead. It's up and it's good. So the Dallas Cowboys have got to get into the end zone with 1 minute and 45 seconds left on the clock to win this football game. I mean, Romeo Doubs, his numbers aren't reflecting it, but when you are catching touchdowns like he is tonight, 5 catches, 52 yards, and 3 touchdowns, having a night, and that pass is caught. I don't know what type of coverage that was. Soft as a baby's ass. And Romeo Doubs is able to get into the end zone. And Jordan Love being able to execute a really good 2-minute drill to put his team out in front. Now it's Dak Prescott's turn. 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns total tonight, 3 passing, 1 rushing. And this game has become very, very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Very interesting football game. Let's see what them boys can do, all right? Romeo Doubs having an incredible night. My goodness. 5 catches, 52 yards, 3 tutties. There's a lot of talented young wide receivers on this football team for the Green Bay Packers. Mr. Telephone Man, there's something wrong with my line. When I dial the TJ of the State of the Saints podcast number, I get a click every time. Nah, man, we don't do you like that, man. We don't hang up on you. Parsons wasn't worth all the money, especially if a team has a strong running game. All right, so Turpin trying to get around the corner, and he gets almost to midfield. So what a run by Kevontae Turpin, putting the Cowboys in excellent field position. Dak Prescott, 7 game-winning drives starting in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter of overtime in his 10th years in the NFL, 10 seasons. Dak Prescott can get it done. He can facilitate a comeback. And these are the type of moments, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm talking about. These are the type of moments. Dak Prescott putting up big numbers, 3 touchdowns, 4 total. These are the type of games that you got to win. All right, so here we go. Dak Prescott looking. Who in the world was he throwing to? And that is not a fumble, ladies and gentlemen. It should be intentional grounding, though. It should be intentional grounding, though. Who was over there? Oh, okay. They said the receiver was in the vicinity. I want to know where receiver was in the vicinity is my question. Who was there? Who was the receiver? Who was the receiver? Wait a minute. Who was okay. I don't agree with that, buddy. But anyway, I don't agree with that. Who was he throwing that ball to? Can somebody please tell me who was throwing that ball to? Because I couldn't tell you. Like, I don't know what they talking about. That's just horrible officiating. That is clearly intentional grounding. He thought that Javonte Williams was going to be in that spot. That was intentional grounding. They got away with one there. Dak Prescott in the gun. And he has pressure up the middle. And Jake Ferguson fighting for extra yards. And he is going to bring up 3rd down. So regardless, this is 4 down territory regardless. So let's see. 1 minute and 20 seconds left from the clock. 19, 18, 17. Dak Prescott trying to get his offense set. Okay, here we go. Dak Prescott looking. Throws the ball to Jalen Tolbert. Jalen Tolbert spins around, gets past the 30-yard line to about the 27. So Dak Prescott trying to facilitate this 2-minute drill, getting this team to hurry up to the line of scrimmage. In the gun. So Dak Prescott in the gun again. Here's the snap. Looking. Throws the ball again. This pass is caught to George Pickens to the 10, to the 5. In for the touchdown. And just like that, the Dallas Cowboys back on top again. George Pickens, have yourself a night. These wide receivers have come to play. 6 catches, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns. 43 seconds remain in this game. Jerry Jones, as they often do, showing him in his luxury owner's box as his team steps forward. Dak Prescott, 5 total touchdowns tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Dak Prescott, have yourself a night, my friend. Dak Prescott, 27 of 35, 256 yards, 3 touchdowns. They're saying 3. I felt like he had 5. 4 total touchdowns, excuse me. So 4 total touchdowns. I thought that was his 5th touchdown of the night. I apologize. I like my boy Dak out here balling. But anyway, I don't know what's going on here. Let's take a look at this play. So here we go. I mean, just bad containment right there by Valentine. Carrington Valentine just out of place, and he just gets beat. I mean, I don't know. Like, he tries to play the sidelines, trips, and George Pickens is just right there, and the rest is history, man. Hit your head on the goalpost there. Bad containment by Valentine. Should have stayed to the inside. Instead, he tried to go outside, trying to be too cute there, and he was able to get into the end zone. But there is 43 seconds left on the clock. I believe that the Green Bay Packers still have all of their timeouts. 35 seconds left on the clock. No, I was right the first time. 43 seconds left on the clock. So 43 seconds left on the clock. You got Brandon Aubrey trying to kick the ball. Kicks it short. And this is going to be returned. This is by Savion Williams. And Savion Williams trying to fight, trying to scratch, trying to claw, move himself forward, tries to do the best that he can. That's going to be 35 seconds left on the clock. And Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers have 35 seconds to win this football game. So he only has one game-winning drive starting in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter overtime in his career. So Dak Prescott trying to hype up the crowd, trying to get the crowd at full throat to make it as disruptive inside of AT&T Stadium as possible, so that the Green Bay Packers could make a mistake. Look at Matt LaFleur. These are the type of moments that make legends. Jordan Love looking, checks the ball down. Josh Jacobs getting around the sidelines, and he gets out of bounds as well. So not only does he get a big game, but you do it, and you don't even have to use a timeout. So both of these defenses definitely are leaving a lot to be desired tonight. Nobody can stop anybody. Both teams are going up and down the field. And if you're into offense and lackluster defense, then this is the game for you, ladies and gentlemen. 1st and 10 for Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. Love in the gun. Jacobs in the backfield with him. He's looking. He gets flushed out of the pocket. He makes somebody miss. He throws the ball, and that pass is incomplete. So Kenny Clark making it tough on his former teammate. So here we go. 22 seconds left on the clock. Jordan Love in the Green Bay Packers trying to win this football game. James Houston is out there being extremely disruptive. This young man is special. He just has to stay healthy. 22 seconds left on the clock. Worst case scenario could be a possible field goal to tie to bring it into overtime. All right, so here we go. Love in the gun. Snap. Gets around the corner. That pass is caught. And Malik Heat, who finally gets a pass tonight, not the go-to guy, probably just in the game for a guy to get some rest. But Malik Heat is able to catch the ball, get out of bounds, save the timeouts. And this is a good thing because you still got your full playbook. You don't have to play the sidelines. You don't have to try to push the ball down the field. So the Dallas Cowboys have to think about that. So one-on-one, you got Romeo Doubs at the bottom of the screen who is having a monster night. Here's the handoff to Josh Jacobs. He runs up the middle, and I'm pretty sure they're going to call a timeout here. You get a couple cracks at the end zone. And worst case scenario, you're kicking a field goal. But I'm not putting it in the hand of McManus. I'm just being honest with you. Guy a little bit too sketchy for me when it comes to the field goal kicking. I'm not saying he ain't capable of making it. I'm just saying I've seen this guy miss some field goals that are recruit in crucial situations quite a bit. Dak Prescott trying to keep his composure. You could tell the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott want this football game. They want it. They want this football game in a major way. All right, so here we go. 12 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Get a couple shots at the end zone. And here we go. And Dallas used their final timeout. You can't take it with you home. So they take their final timeout with 12 seconds left on the clock. And McManus is trying to stay locked in. A guy who, does not have the best record in the world at those 50-yard kicks. That's why I'm saying I don't really trust this guy. I don't trust him, man. He's a little frosty and flaky for my liking. But anyway, here we go. 12 seconds left on the clock. So Mason Crosby, a long-time kicker, he is not out there. He is not walking through that door, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so here we go. 12 seconds left. Jordan Love in a gun. Here's the snap. Hands it off. Brandon Jacobs gets up the field. Seems like they're pretty content trying to bring this thing into overtime. 8 seconds left. Look, you got one timeout remaining. I think you need to take a shot at the end zone. Take a shot at the end zone. You don't get it. Bring out Brandon McManus and hope that you can be able to make this to go into overtime. All right, so really smart play right there. They're trying to make sure they make it easier. Just a straight shot right up the middle. So if you throw the football, put the ball in the air, if it doesn't pan out, then it's time to go out here, kick a field goal, and try to bring this thing into overtime. But in the meantime, in between time, let's see if you can get this ball into the end zone. You got one-on-one down at the screen. And they got him playing off. Jordan Love looking. Throws the ball down the field, and he just chunks it out of bounds with about 4 seconds left on the clock. And that's going to bring out Brandon McManus to try to tie this game up to send it into overtime. And we all know that the overtime rules have changed this season, where both teams with opportunity to possess the ball, rather it's a touchdown or not. So that's the new overtime rule. It's not just, you get the ball first, I score, game over. Both teams get a chance to possess the ball. All right, so Brandon McManus. Straight shot field goal, 53-yarder to tie this game up. Snap, placement, kick on the way, and it is right down the middle. We are going into overtime, ladies and gentlemen. Brandon McManus kicking a 50-plus yard field goal right down the middle. These kickers in modern day NFL are kicking crazy field goals. It's only a matter of time before we see a 70-yarder being kicked in a real NFL game. I don't know if it's the footballs are lighter. I don't know if their feet are just, foot is just that strong. I don't know, man. But all right, this is going to be overtime. All right. All right, so here we go, McManus. And you got Joe Milton out there getting some TV time, backup quarterback. Yeah, so this season, both teams have opportunity to possess the ball regardless to if, one team scores or not. So you still get opportunity to be able to score. All right, so if you drive down the field, get the ball, and is intercepted. All right, so both teams have agreed. Both teams have agreed. And that's something that's different too, because in the classic format of overtime, you would never see a team that wins the coin toss give the ball to the opposing team. You never see that. So now you have an option because it really doesn't matter, because you still get the opportunity to possess the football. So an exciting game tonight. I think this is actually our first overtime game here on the State of NFL. So strap in, ladies and gentlemen. We got 190 people watching this right now. I ask that you hit the like button if you're here. What I wouldn't give for the Saints could get some receivers. Yeah, don't we all, man? Don't we all? Wow, Cowboys, incredible. TJ, if you thought the Packers secondary was soft, wait till you see next. Man, this secondary is awful. Like both of their secondary is awful. These defenses awful. And it's so crazy because the Green Bay Packers, they've had like some really good defensive performances this season. Like a lot of people thought they may have had like the best defensive football, but not tonight. Not tonight. But I also, like, as crazy as this sounds, this might be a blessing in disguise for Dak Prescott. Not having CD Lamb out there where you got to force him the football. Like now, teams don't know who to zero in on. It's probably easier for a team to like zero in on CD Lamb because they know he's gonna get the majority of the targets. In this game tonight, like you don't know who's getting the football. Like George Pickens is capable, but you also have Jalen Tolbert and Kevontae Turpin and Guillory. You got Jake Ferguson. So they don't know who to zero in on. So it pretty much stretches out the defense, and it makes guys have to work a little bit harder to be able to get stops and get deflections. But anyway, here's the kickoff to start overtime. Kevontae Turpin is going to take this thing out, and he tries to get around the sideline, and he does, and he gets past the defender, and really good return right there, but there's a flag on the play. So more than likely, this is going to be on the Dallas Cowboys. Once again, most special teams penalties are always on a return team. So a really good return is going to be negated here by a penalty on a special team. All right, so Brandon McManus. All right, so there's a 10-yard penalty. So that big run by James Houston, holding guys up. Like, man, you can't get a guy inside his shoulder pass. They're going to call that every time. And Brandon McManus, who's just trying to make a play, trying to slow down the momentum or even bring down Kevontae Turpin, takes a huge hit. And they're asking, is he going to be all right? He's saying he's fine. So a really good return right there for not. 1st and 10 for the Dallas Cowboys. We got some motion there. Here's the handoff to Javonte Williams. Breaks free, gets around the side, fights for extra yards. He gets enough for a first down. So a missed tackle right there by the Green Bay Packers defender. Javonte Williams is able to break off that tackle and gets himself a first down. So Brian Schottenheimer trying to call his best plays, trying to call his best stuff. All right, so here we go. Here's the handoff to Javonte Williams, gets around the side, and he runs up the field. All right, so here we go. George Pickens on that comeback route. Just let him go. Just let him go. All right, you don't want another late penalty. So George Pickens, over 100 yards. Carrington Valentine trying to stay with him, and as well as this secondary for the Green Bay Packers. So the Dallas Cowboys, we're looking at the stats. 5 touchdowns scored in the last 6 possessions. 7 touchdowns in the last 3 games. So to say that their offense has come alive tonight would be an understatement. Tolbert in motion. Dak in the gun. Hands the ball off to Williams again. Tries to get around the side. This time the defensive Linemen are able to corral him down really quickly, gets past the line of scrimmage, but that's about it. That's going to bring up third down for the Dallas Cowboys. Clock continues to tick, of course. If this game ends in a tie, if both teams aren't able to score or both teams score a touchdown. And the time expires, of course. Not like in college football where they just play to a winner all night. 3rd and 4. 7 seconds. The play clock continues. Dak trying to put his team in the best position to be able to execute. Gets around the side. Micah Parsons fighting. Throws the ball down the field. That pass is caught by George Pickens again. And just continues to make life a living hell for that secondary. They have absolutely no answer for George Pickens. And my question is, why isn't Nixon on George Pickens? Why do you have your backup cornerback in Carrington Valentine on the best wide receiver on the Dallas Cowboys team is beyond me. Like, look how far he's playing off. Like, why are you playing that? I don't know. Anyway, George Pickens, 8 catches for 134 yards in this game, having a monster night. Play action. Dak pushed, caught, Luke Shoemaker. All right, so here we go. I mean, Carrington Valentine has had a rough night. I just don't understand why you're not putting your best cornerback on George Pickens, who is almost at 150 yards receiving. Taking a look at Brandon Aubrey, which I don't know. I honestly feel like he's going to make this field goal regardless. But anyway, Luke Shoemaker in motion. Dak Prescott in the gun. Snap. And he's looking, feels the pressure, tries to get up in the pocket, throws the ball down the field. And that is caught. Caught by Jalen Tolbert. Dak Prescott giving his team a chance. And wait a minute. Toe, drag, swag by Jalen Tolbert. Really good concentration right there. And that is a catch, ladies and gentlemen. That is good stuff right there. Like right on the edge and just catches the ball before it goes out of bounds. Dak Prescott throwing up a miracle, but his prayer was answered. What a catch. And if you're the cornerback, Nixon, for the Green Bay Packers, you're wondering to yourself, why are you quitting on a play? That could have been an interception, the way that ball sailed in the air. So the Dallas Cowboys are within striking distance. But the good thing about this is that the Green Bay Packers have an opportunity. Like, I'm just wondering, okay, so Nixon, let's take a look at this play. So Dak gets around the side. You look at Nixon, has coverage, and just stops. Just stops. Like, you see the ball in the air. Why are you stopping in the end zone? Like, he didn't even try to pursue it. Like, he's not going to catch it. And he catches it anyway. Like, why are you not sticking to the wide receiver? Just quits on a play. That is not that, as good as Nixon has been for the Green Bay Packers. That was not his shining moment. He just quit. He quit on that play. Dak under center on a 1st and goal. Sends the fullback in motion. Javonte Williams barrels forward and gets a few yards on a play that's going to bring up 2nd and goal. Like, I don't get that, man. I don't understand why guys quit on plays like that. Like, when you quit on plays like that, that's how success happens for the opposing team. All right, so here we go. 2nd and goal for the Dallas Cowboys. And a play action. Looking. Gets around the side. And he's able to get Dak Prescott down to the ground, but it won't count as a sack. It counts as a tackle. So Micah Parsons is able to track down Dak Prescott. And able to get around the side. So they are going to call that a sack. All right, so they called it a sack, which I thought he bypassed the line of scrimmage here. So, and he just throws it out of bounds. So that's going to be a field goal, going to set up a field goal. So touchdown saving tackle by Micah Parsons, because Dak Prescott definitely was going to score there. But anyway, Brandon Aubrey, I mean, one of the most accurate kickers in the NFL, in my opinion, the best kicker in the NFL, coming out for a chip shot field goal. If you're the Green Bay Packers, you're not trying to make a mistake. You're not trying to run into anybody. You're going to get opportunity to try to get the ball back. It's pretty chip shot field goal, 22 yards. Brandon Aubrey out there try to give the Cowboys the lead in overtime. And it's up, and it is good. So the Dallas Cowboys put 3 points on the board, and the Green Bay Packers have 4 minutes and 40 seconds to be able to rather kick a field goal to tie this game or score a touchdown. Man, you can't make this kind of stuff up, though. Seriously, like Micah Parsons is not really impactful the entire night. And then all of a sudden, like, he gets around the corner and tackles Dak Prescott, like in one of the most clutch and crucial moments of the game. Like, you can't make this kind of stuff up, man. Good evening, everyone. Always a nail biter on the state of the NFL. Yeah, always a nail biter. But this has been, Jules, our first overtime game of the year. So we're going a little long, but y'all know how we do it, man. We stay to the end. All right, we stay to the end of games. All right, and right now is a few minutes till midnight here on where I am at. I'm here on the East Coast, out here in South Carolina in the Eastern time zone. I don't call it the East Coast, but you know, the eastern side of the United States. They still consider South Carolina the South. So what I wouldn't give for the Saints to get some receivers. Overtime. Packers don't have cornerback. I think Nixon is a really good corner, man. I think he's their number one guy. It was just, it's just they're just not good tonight. I think once again, I think the fact that they're not zeroing in on just CeeDee Lamb, I think that is what is making the Dallas Cowboys offense so effective. I think if CeeDee Lamb was out there, I honestly feel like, the way that they're actually playing defensively would be helpful. And I think that Dak Prescott can play a little free because he don't have to think about, oh man, I didn't throw CeeDee Lamb the ball. I didn't get a ball to CD. He ain't got to think about that. Like, you can distribute the ball to whoever. All right, so Jordan Love coming out with 4 minutes and 40 seconds left and trying to get into the end zone to win this football game. If you're the Dallas Cowboys, you're trying to get a stop. A stop for the Dallas Cowboys wins this football game for them. So let's see what they do here. Jordan Love, only one game-winning comeback last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter overtime in his career. Let's see if he can make this one number 2. All right, so here we go. Love in motion. Quick pass. This is off to Wicks. Wicks tries to get around the corner. Can't, but he does get a few yards on the play. So he's going to bring up second down. Really good pursuit right there by the Dallas Cowboys defense. All right, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, 2 things. Nothing cheap, nothing deep. And if you're going to give up something cheap, you damn sure don't want to give up nothing deep. So Matt Eberflus has got to be able to dial up the best defense, and these guys have to play discipline. All right, so here we go. He's looking at the coverage here. Matthew Golden in motion. They hand the ball off. No, instead they decide to throw the ball and throws it at the feet of Tucker Kraft. And here's a flag. We got a flag. So is that an eligible player downfield? Was there an eligible player downfield? Let's see what this is. Yeah, I mean, all right, so a decline penalty. I don't know if I agree with that, because you can still push them back and it's a little bit further yards. You're making it a little bit more easier. All right, it seems like it's a tad bit confused. It's like they didn't know what they wanted to do. I don't know if they, yeah, and you can obviously see the offensive lineman kind of getting lost out there. So that's how it always is in some of those RPO plays. You start to see eligible players downfield. Those big guys end up getting lost. All right, so Dallas taking a timeout here. They understand this is a crucial part of the game. They got to be able to make they got to be able to make these plays. 3rd and 6. I mean, this is clearly 4 down territory anyway, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to get this ball up the field. Got to be able to convert on this 3rd down. All right, so this new overtime rule gives these teams opportunities to be able to score. So there's no question oh, wait a minute, if we would have had the ball, we probably would have won. Now you'll get opportunity to possess the football. All right, so here we go. 3rd and 6 for the Green Bay Packers. Looking. Throws the ball downfield and incomplete. He's looking for a flag. He gets none. DaRon Bland on the coverage. And now the Green Bay Packers have one last opportunity to try to win this football game on a 4th and 6. They can convert the 4th down. If not, the Dallas Cowboys will pull off a victory that is much needed for the franchise because the Green Bay Packers have had their number throughout the years. And that was really good coverage by Bland. Crowd at full throat. 4th and 6. Here we go. And Green Bay calls a timeout. Want to make sure that his quarterback relaxed. Want to make sure that his team understands the play in order for them to be able to push the ball down the field. Jordan Love trying to lead his team to victory. 3 minutes, 50 seconds left in overtime. So if you're Matt LaFleur, you're trying to call your best play, whatever that play is, whatever's in your playbook, whatever that is, you want to make sure that you're calling it. And if you're Jordan Love, you got to know where your reads are. If your number one read is covered, you got to make sure that you're able to get the ball to the next player. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. 4th and 6 for Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. Kraft in motion. Snap. Here we go. Love looking, throws, caught. Caught by Matthew Golden for the 1st down. The rookie comes through in a clutch moment. Matthew Golden able to catch the football, gets down low. And a clutch pass right there. I mean, that is textbook pass and catch right there. Golden in motion. And a handoff there to Emmanuel Wilson. Wilson barreling forward, fighting. And he almost gets the 1st down. He gets about 8 yards on the play. So the clock continues to tick. In the words of Chris Berman, tick, 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 tick. Down to the 3-minute mark. And we're now under 3 minutes. So 2nd and 1, 2 minutes and 42 seconds left. If you're the Green Bay Packers, all you have to do is at least kick a field goal here. I mean, this game could possibly end in a tie. Here we go. Here's the handoff. This is to Emmanuel Wilson. Emmanuel Wilson cutting up the field, fighting, scratching, clawing, gets down to the 40-yard line. And right now, the defense of the Cowboys are on their heels. And if they're running this ball effectively, ladies and gentlemen, this sets up a big play action pass down the field that could possibly win this football game. So I think they're going to go ahead and bring this into the 2-minute warning of overtime. A 2-minute warning. Dalton said rigged. That was PI. I don't know if that was PI, man. I think they both were kind of fighting for a position. So I like the fact that they didn't call the PI there. So I didn't have an issue with that. I didn't have an issue with them not calling that PI. I think it was pretty much bang. Both guys were fighting for position. So both teams have struggled tonight trying to stop the opposing team's defense. So Green Bay is trying to get the ball into the end zone and win this football game. They're not thinking about a field goal. They're not thinking about a field goal at all. I don't know how a tie helps you in this regard. I don't know how a tie helps you. Like both teams just walk away, oh, it's a tie. I do think that in the NFL need to maybe follow the format of overtime like college football does, where, you have to have a winner. Like, they'll probably start off, each team get an opportunity to possess the ball, and then they'll have to go for two. I do think they may need to, follow that type of format. But I guess they, looking at it from, time restrictions and stuff like that. And I guess, the punishment that these guys absorb. But if you want a definitive winner, you got to be able to adjust. All right, 1st and 10 for the Green Bay Packers. After the 2-minute warning, Emmanuel Wilson shifts from left to right. Jordan Love looking, throws, and that pass is caught by Wicks. Wicks able to get around a corner, and he's able to get down the field, got the first down and more, and Wicks making it happen. And Jerry Jones has that look of concern on his face. All right, so here we go. You look at Emmanuel Wilson, able to try to get outside. Really good pass and catch. Wicks makes a guy miss. Was on 2 linebackers right there. It's a really tough matchup when you have a wide receiver on a linebacker. But anyway, Jordan Love, 1:21 seconds left in the gun. Emmanuel Wilson in the backfield. He moves, shifts, looking, throws, caught, Dobbs. And that's past the 20 to about the 19-yard line. 1:07 seconds left. Clock continues to move. All you need is a touchdown. I know that sounds crazy. But, worst case scenario, you kick a field goal, game ends in a tie. But Green Bay isn't looking for a tie. Hands the ball off to Wilson. Wilson, stiff arms, able to get the first down and a little bit more. Emmanuel Wilson taking advantage of this opportunity to be in a game. Matt LaFleur has the confidence in the young stud running back. All right, so here we go. And a pass right there, and that is blew up by Trayvon Diggs. Lucky for them, that's all that happened. Lucky for them, that's all that happened on that play because he read that. They are lucky that play didn't end in an interception. He read that perfectly. He just couldn't. If Romeo Dobbs wasn't there to stop his momentum, he probably would have been running the other way with that. So lucky for Romeo Dobbs, he was there on the spot. So here's the final timeout for the Green Bay Packers. 28 seconds left on the clock. And the question is, are you kicking a field goal? At least you're getting a tie. And both teams walk away not winning, but not losing either. All right, so here we go. Dak Prescott trying to get the crowd back into it. He wants this football game. You can tell how the way he played tonight. Pretty flawless performance there by Dak. All right, so here we go. 2nd and 13. Jordan Love looking, looking, checks it down to Emmanuel Wilson. He goes absolutely nowhere. 22 seconds left on the clock. You need to go ahead and hurry up on a third down. Push come 14 seconds, 13 seconds, 11 seconds, 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 8 seconds, 7 seconds. Last play of the game, possibly. He throws down the field and incomplete with 1 second left on the clock. What are you going to do? Now you're kicking a field goal to end the game in a tie. And Jordan Love is having a conversation with Matt LaFleur because I'm wondering what in God's name is taking you all so long. You got to be able to get your teammates to the line. You got to get them to the line. It wasn't enough sense of urgency on that play. And luckily, okay, snap, placement, kick on the way, and it is good. So, ladies and gentlemen, this game ends in a tie. So if you, I mean, I guess they can't create the storyline where who won the trade because both teams in this game in a tie. So whoever was trying to create this narrative and probably was ready to write this article, I guess you're going to have to start from scratch. And I know it's going to be a long night for you because, you can't write the article. Oh, the Cowboys won the trade. Micah Parsons wasn't a factor. Well, Micah Parsons was the reason why the Cowboys didn't score a touchdown and had to kick a field goal. So luckily, that was such a fortunate circumstance for the Green Bay Packers because that time management was straight up booty. But ladies and gentlemen, your final score, Green Bay 40. Cowboys 40. Good game tonight, ladies and gentlemen. If you're into offense, if you're into defense, then this game set defense back about 10 years. But all in all, it was a fun night, and I'm glad to spend a little bit of it with you here on the State of the NFL podcast. Once again, my name is TJ Jones. You can check out every single episode of the State of the NFL, where we talk about some of the hottest topics in all of the National Football League, as well as go live during every primetime game, Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football. We got you covered over here. So come on and chill out with us. Have a good time. And, hopefully we have some more exciting games like this one was tonight. Till next time, I'll see you down the road.